Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, chilly day here in Hampton, Georgia, but things are about to heat up with the NASCAR Nationwide Series cars. Qualifying canceled because of snow for the second time this year. The owner's points will determine the starting lineup. Take a look at the top of the screen. You will see where your favorite driver is starting. Jeff Burton and Kyle Busch in row one. What's the over-under on Kyle Busch maybe trying to lead that first lap? Now, we're going to have 8 high-definition onboard cameras to watch throughout today, and Clint Boyer will give us a ride with the BB&T Chevrolet. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the National Guard Chevy. We'll try to visit with him in a moment. Mike Wallace, the Geico Toyota, coming off that 7th-place finish at Las Vegas. Jamie McMurray, who won here back in 2002. The City Financial Ford. Jeff Burton, who's won the last 2 in a row here in the Holiday Inn Chevrolet. Kevin Harvick, the Camping World Chevy. Marcus Ambrose from the Kingsford Ford. Good day for charcoal here. And Cale Gale, the rookie driver in the 77 car, the Rheem Chevrolet. We were going to talk with our in-race reporter, but we're not going to interrupt him because he has some issues right now. The hood is up on the 5 car, the National Guard Chevy. While they try to get that working, we'll touch base with some of the stories we'll be following today in the pit, starting with Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, it's certainly one of the coldest race days in recent history. And I talked to some of the drivers, how they're going to deal with it and how they're going to stay warm. Kevin Harvick told me, actually in the race car, it's the closest, best place you can be. He said they're going to tape up those air ducts and they're going to turn off that AC unit. So he said he won't be feeling any cold air. Everybody else I talked to, they said the one thing they think about when it's this cold, when the caution flag falls. When it falls, their hands freeze. They feel that outside air blowing on them. So other than the caution flags, guys, the race car is the best place to be, Mike Massaro.
And Jamie, one of the worst places to be? Right here on pit road. That's where the human element truly comes into play. These athletes will go over the wall 3, maybe 4 times today in quick, intense bursts of speed. The problem is, in between those stops, lots of idle time. Time for the muscles to really stiffen up. One might describe it as muscle pull weather. And that's a big deal because one pulled hamstring could mean the difference between a good pit stop and potentially a race-losing pit stop. Subsequently, one of the most popular places to be in these pit stalls, right here next to the portable heaters. People will be gathering around here trying to stay loose, trying to stay warm. But as cold as it is down here on pit road, Shannon, there are worse places to be, aren't there?
That's right, Mike. I think the worst seat in the house is about 110 feet above the track, and that is where the spotters stand. Now, with temperatures in the 40s and wind gusts about 30 miles per hour, they're going to rely on a lot of things to keep them warm, including gloves, hand warmers, hats. Now, I did speak with the spotter for the 29 team. He told me last year in Texas, he improvised. He found himself a garbage can, clean garbage can, of course, crawled in during the cautions. He would lean down, and he stayed warm. Now, I don't think that they're going to have to go to those measures here today, but it's all about staying warm to safely navigate your drivers around the track. Dave?
Well, guys, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has gotten the car fired. That's great news. He sat on pit road, turning the car over, trying to get it cranked, and could not do so. But he believed that it was just a little bit flooded, and if they could get the car rolling, he could pop out the clutch and engage it and get the car fired up. They tried pushing it down pit road. His guys pushed it down to the end of pit road. They were not able to get it fired. A wrecker finally came along, pushed behind the 5 car, and now, at least at last check, he is rolling on the racetrack, guys.
Thank you, Dave. Wow, a week ago, this car's in victory lane at Las Vegas with Mark Martin. Today, they have trouble getting it fired to get off pit road. Boy, what a difference a week makes. Earnhardt Jr. now finally fired to rejoin the fray here. This race today is 300 miles. It is a 1.54-mile racetrack. That's why you see it's 195 laps and the pit road speed. And there's the pit window.
Yeah, 50 to 55 laps is how far they can go on a tank of fuel. And if Goodyear's done a good job with this new tire, the tire should be able to make that full run there on the fuel.
We've showed you and we've talked about some of the favorites today, but what about some of the sleepers that we might be able to break through today?
I'm looking at Mike Bliss in this 22 car. He's had a good run the last few weeks. This team is kind of on a upswing. They've got a really good relationship between Mike Bliss and Paul Wolf, the crew chief there. So I'm looking for these guys to have a good race today.
Yeah, that's a good choice, Andy. I'm going to go with David Stremme, who had a great run last week at Las Vegas and has had exceptional success here in his nationwide races. So I want to see if this team can build on that success they had last week.
Okay, Dale, this is last week. We're going to let you pick him as a dark horse because he's running too good to be picking him as a dark horse. We're going to pick him as one of the boys.
Yeah, David Stremme finishing 5th last week. Has never finished out of the top 15 at this racetrack, but is yet to break through with a win in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Front row, Jeff Burton trying to make history by winning 3 in a row. He won last year and the year before. Can he do it? If you just joined our coverage, they had one practice session yesterday. The qualifying was snowed out this morning. And DJ, you were able to get on the racetrack in your Cup car, but what kind of track conditions are we talking about here? I know you were concerned with you guys going out to practice the Cup car. Now these guys have to race on this.
Yeah, that was a strange sight this morning, all that snow blowing around here, and knowing that the racetrack was going to be extremely cold. Radial tires and cold racetracks generally don't go together. That's what these guys are going to find out as they get ready to go here. I'm sure that they're going to take it easy here for just a few laps because they really don't know what's going to happen. Low air pressure, cold racetrack. It's going to be interesting to see. And just to let the fans know, we will talk to Dale Jr. He is our in-race reporter. We're not going to bother him right now because, Andy, this is a very stressful time when that thing won't start.
Now, the crew chief doesn't want to hear from us right now either. Those guys are trying to sort some things out.
Okay, if you want to know what happened to Dale Earnhardt Jr. a moment ago, why the car wouldn't start, we probably can show you. In fact, we will show you. We'll head down to Tim Brewer and our Chevy cutaway car at the ESPN Dish Tech Center. Tim.
Thanks, Jerry. In my experience in cold weather, folks, when you come out to crank the car, if you'll pump the accelerator 1, 2, 3 times, that enables fuel to get down in the manifold, down in the combustion chamber. And like old Harold Elliott told me, when you throw the fire to it, you got fuel down in the combustion chambers. When you roll it over, it's going to fire. Jerry?
Thank you, Tim. And certainly a lot of situations, a lot of concern today because of the weather conditions. Again, the wind chill about 27 degrees, winds gusting at 25 to 30 miles an hour down the back straightaway. And obviously just getting the car fired can be a bit of a challenge.
Well, these are not fuel-injected cars. They are carbureted cars. And, you know, if we were racing in this kind of weather all the time, we would have chokes on them so we can get them started.
Black flag in the 24 car, DJ. They said something about the window missing.
Yeah, no side glass, and that obviously you can't race without that. I don't know how that would have happened at this point in time. A lot of times you take those out, they're out as the car is sitting on the line, and now I guess someone just forgot to put the thing back in. It's probably laying down inside the car, Andy.
Well, if the way the wind's blowing, if they didn't latch it good enough, that side wind could have actually blown the thing out on the racetrack. They better, if that's happened, they better hope they have an extra.
I'll bet you with what's happened the last couple of weeks there, the oil tank cover's on pretty firm.
Well, there it is. We found it. Looks like it was what you said, Dale. It was inside the car.
Yeah,
they just forgot to put it in.
Yeah, you get to all the hustle and bustle of trying to get ready, and everybody's cold, the wind's blowing, and they're just trying to get everything done. Sometimes you forget those things.
On a day like today, you definitely want the windows rolled up in the car. It is chilly here in Atlanta, but it's about to heat up, folks. 300 miles for the NASCAR Nationwide Series cars, and you won't believe the kind of day. In case you just joined our coverage, it was snowing sideways here this morning. You could not see from the roof to pit road. Looked more like a morning at Winter X Games. And then the snow's moved out, the clouds have parted, the sun has come out, and it is turning into a brisk but beautiful day here as we are about 45 minutes southeast of Atlanta, Georgia. These folks say in Atlanta, I thought you said Anchorage. It is a bit cold here as Jeff Burton and Kyle Busch in row 1.
As soon as we get this green flag, I bet these fans will get warmed up. Get a little action out there on the racetrack.
Yeah.
Don't forget how cold it is.
As a driver, I always thought that I definitely had the best seat today on days like this. The pit crews that they were talking earlier, that was the worst place to be, sitting on top of the box or waiting for your time to go. That driver's seat's pretty comfortable about now.
Getting set for the start at Atlanta. Glad to have you with us. Our live flag-to-flag coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series. It is race number 4 of 35. Pace car pulls down. Burton has won 2 in a row. Kyle Busch, who won the truck race here last night, says he's going to lead the first lap. Can he do it? As they come down to the green flag at Atlanta. Entering turn 3, it's Burton by half a car length, but here comes Kyle Busch on the high side.
He's challenging Burton up on that outside groove right off the bat, Dale. I guess he knows that it's good because they've run a cup practice up there, and he knows that that groove's ready to go.
Yeah, he knew that there was a little bit of grip there, and it looked like he spun the tires a little bit. Jeff Burton got a good start. Didn't look like he had any problems getting up to speed, but then Kyle just drove by him going into turn 3. And this is not something that was unexpected, I don't think. We know this young man likes to stay in the gas. This is his type of racetrack.
For you Tony Stewart fans, who Stewart drove that 20 car the first 3 events of the year, Stewart will be out of the car now until Texas, and Kyle Busch drives the 20 for the first time here this year at Atlanta.
If you happen not to catch the truck race last night, this young man that's out front right now put on quite the show in winning that race. It was worth the price of admission. I don't care how cold it was or where you were. He put on a show, and he's stretching it out right now in this nationwide race.
Cale Gale, the onboard camera, is one of the up-and-coming young drivers. You saw Brian Clausen go by, talking about 18-year-old drivers making a move here in this series.
This is his first time on this racetrack, and I talked to his crew chief a little bit last night. He says he really likes that high groove, and he's up there already right off the start.
Yeah, and these young guys, I think, are the ones that are probably going to be taking it the easiest right now. Guys that really don't know exactly what these cars and this racetrack's going to do as we watch the battle for 5th here. But it's very intimidating because it's very fast, and you're not exactly sure what your car is going to do. They didn't get on the racetrack today, and so they're probably just taking it easy, filling everything out.
What was it Jeff Burton said? These guys are going to be okay. They don't know anything. They don't know how it hurts. These young guys don't know how much it hurts when you hit at Atlanta. Yeah, there's 4 places. Edwards is 4th, Harvick is 5th, and Rudeman in 6th, and that's Casey Kane back in 7th.
Casey Kane loves this racetrack, and I think you can see just like he's up on the outside lane, he loves the outside groove too.
DJ Kennington slowing down on the apron. He will head back to pit road if he makes it, and he should. We should stay green and avoid our first caution flag.
It's going to be a little iffy. He's going pretty slow, but he might make her back around here.
We have a battle for second now. Clint Boyer.
Looks like Jeff Burton just gave it to him.
Yeah, apparently Jeff's car is not exactly what he wants right now, but he knows we're only 6 laps into this 195-lap race, so no reason to press the issue. It's going to be really interesting today to see if that high groove does come in because these tires are a little bit harder than what we had last year, or is that going to work for us or not? So it'll be interesting to see as they get some laps on these tires. Dave, you have something on the 29 for us?
Well, yeah, DJ, just what they were working on yesterday during their one and only practice session. And it was that the front end mainly was not turning well enough for Jeff. He described it as numb, and that is a feeling that you don't want. It's not gripping the racetrack up when you turn. Crew chief Pat Smith thought they had worked some of that out, but right now, as you might expect, Jeff Burton just taking it easy at the beginning, seeing what they've actually got since they made the changes overnight.
Yeah, thanks. If they get that figured out, how about letting me know? Because that's exactly how I was describing my Cup car earlier. I just couldn't feel the front end. I think it has a lot to do with this tire and trying to make that happen.
And that's a sign of a veteran driver. He realized they don't pay any of the purse on lap 6.
Exactly, and that's what you have to understand is you just can't press the issue. There's no reason to right now, and Jeff Burton is that type of smart race driver.
Jamie?
And Jeff Burton, you guys are talking about him, his teammate, Clint Boyer, ahead of him. I just talked to Clint before he got in the car, and he goes, you know, we're actually pretty good here. He said, normally we can never bring the right setup, the right car to this track. He said, but we're pretty good. So I'm expecting, Jamie, you're covering us. Watch us go to victory lane. So we'll see what Clint Boyer can do. He started 4th, moved up to 2nd.
Indeed, Clint Boyer trying to run the full season, Jamie. He wants to win the championship here. He got permission from Richard Childress to run it all and go after the title. Early laps here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and here's a news flash. When they waved the green flag, Kyle Busch got aggressive and decided to go to the front where he is right now by some 2 seconds over Boyer, Burton, Harvick, and Edwards.
We are just back at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and the caution is just out early in today's 300-miler for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Curtis Davis has popped the wall and brought the yellow flag out for the first time in this race. Waiting to see if any of the front runners come on to pit road here as the pace car leads them by the pit road opening, and it looks like most everybody is going to stay on the racetrack. Quick look at what happened here. Curtis Davis in the 0-1 car just had some trouble all by himself and popped the wall, and that is a tough break for the youngster from South Carolina. Look Look at the damage here on the 0-1 car, and looks like it is going to be an early day for Curtis as he has taken that car behind the wall and to the garage. Kyle Busch has led all of the laps so far. Again, the front runners have stayed on the racetrack. These are cars toward the middle and back half of the field who are going to take advantage of the yellow flag to make a stop just 12 laps in at Atlanta.
We welcome you back to the Nicorette 300 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, where we are under yellow for the first time today. Coming out lap 10, the 0-1 car of Curtis Davis having some contact with the wall. The sun is shining, as you saw a moment ago, but it is a brisk and very chilly day here. In fact, let's listen in to Kevin Harvick on his radio.
I tell you what, I'm freezing. I tell you what, you're not getting no pity out of me. Yeah, I just thought about that as I said it.
That was Kevin Harvick saying he was cold, and the spotters on top of the roof guys replying, "You're not going to get any pity out of me."
Yeah, I think Kevin would have taken that back just as it got out, and he realized what he was saying there, because these guys have to really be cold.
We got no shield from the wind up on top of these roofs.
Under this first caution, by the way, the 91 car, Larry Gunzelman, is our Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass winner. He was the first driver one lap down, and now he will get back on the lead lap as the Lucky Dog Award winner. Didn't take Kyle Busch long. He has led all 14 laps thus far. Remember, they didn't qualify. He was the quickest car in the one and only practice session yesterday. Has yet to win at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the NASCAR Nationwide Series or Cup. Been almost unbeatable here, as you mentioned, DJ, in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, having won. He's raced, what, 3 truck races? He's won all 3 of them here.
Young man, this just suits his style. I mean, a wide open racetrack. You know, used to think about Dale Earnhardt really liking to race here, Andy, and Kyle Busch is the same way.
Yeah, he does fit that mold of just stand in the gas, and here we go. He's standing in it now.
Also standing in is Jeff Burton in the 29 car as he tries to move to the outside of his teammate Clint Bowyer for second position.
Clint just a little bit slow getting up to speed. May have slipped the tires there on the restart. Kyle Busch opened up a pretty good gap on these guys on the backstretch. I think Richard Childress will be saying, "Okay, boys, let's sort it out and chase this 20 car down."
Yeah, Jeff Burton saw that move put on him there going in turn 3 of the start of the race. So he used that on Clint Bowyer right there to take the second spot back.
If you just joined our coverage, by the way, the leaders again did not pit under that first caution flag from 26th back on the restart. Those are the cars that came in. Brad Coleman, the first of those cars that pitted, now being shown in about 24th position.
And those guys didn't get tires. They just all put in fuel, but that could come into play as we go down. We have a lot of green flag racing typically here, so that may be something that these guys use to their advantage.
And Goodyear has brought a super hard tire that's got some pretty good wear characteristics to it, so these guys can probably make a full run on these tires, and that fuel, like you said, will come into play.
Pretty good battle for 11th position, the 88 of Brad Keselowski, who came oh so close a week ago to getting his first win. And the guy you guys were talking about there in the 22 car, expected to maybe be a sleeper today, Mike Bliss.
You see these Toyotas right sneaking in the picture there too. The 32 car, Brian Vickers, and the 38, Jason Leffler.
And we saw Mike Bliss. He was all the way up beside the 88 car down in turns 1 and 2. But if you can't get that grip off the corner, it bogs that car down a little bit. And these guys on the high side really had something, some momentum going. Dave, you got something for the 88?
DJ, on that first run, his car went from loose to tight. And remember, this team in the 88 car is part of that 5 group. They had a victory luncheon for the 5 this week. Junior spoke at it and told the 88 team, you know what? You guys played hard too, and if you don't think what happened at the end of that race can't happen to you, well, hang in there. That's racing, and you guys will get it next time.
Dave, speaking to Brad Keselowski in the garage area, he said, I'm disappointed, but, of all people, said, I know Mark Martin would never intentionally hit anybody like it. He doesn't need to bump anybody to pass him, and I know he felt awfully bad.
Looks like Clint Bowyer's got a little bit of a problem. He's lost a couple spots and then loses a couple more. Carl Edwards, Dave Rudiman goes by.
Yeah, it seemed that it took his car a little bit longer in that first run to get it up and going, but we didn't expect to see this happen. It could just be that he doesn't have a good feel for his car, and sometimes the heat cycles on these things, Andy, with these tires, especially have a hard tire, it can make it even more difficult. Jamie?
Yeah, Clint Boyer just telling his crew that he's just tight in the center and off. He just wants a slight adjustment when he comes in, but obviously it's a little bit bigger than he's making note to his team, so he's sliding back, lost a few positions, guys, but that's all it is, just a little tight.
Okay, Dale, if your car's tight, you know, the track's big. You got all these grooves to run on. Where do you go when your car's tight?
Yeah, it's really difficult. You can't really get up top and go anywhere. You want to go around the bottom, but you have to really keep it on the white line here. And what happens is, as you try to get back to the throttle and that car is tight, you're just losing speed off the corner. You need the whole racetrack, and I think that's what he's just trying to get himself in a position that he can just race and use the whole racetrack. As we see him now move up to the top a little bit to see if he can alleviate some of that push right there. And the other side of that is, if his car's pushing, he's probably not going to push the issue right now, because even though they know these tires are harder, he's not going to take that chance at this point in time.
Yeah, because if your car is pushing, you're going to wear that right front more than you're going to wear the right rear and overuse it. So he doesn't want to do that.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 7th position. You see he's trying to hold off Matt Kenseth behind him for 7th spot as they move in now on Clint Boyer's car with a serious push. We'll see if Boyer will slide high, and now a little bit of a wiggle there from the 5 car.
Saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. try to go down to the bottom of Clint Boyer, and his car may be just too loose to run down there on the bottom.
Dave?
And the 5-car Dale Earnhardt Jr. more to the loose side, but pretty decent in the driver's words and having a good time out there. Listen to his radio.
So this is a good old time here, man. Telling you, pretty fun. Is it warmer in there? That little bend on the left front, I wish I could have sealed it up. It's a little chilly. We can't do that. That would get me in trouble. Yeah. It's cold air coming in that thing, but...
So normally, of course, you would want a day when you get cold air into the cockpit there. Junior says, I got plenty of it, but that's not something they could have sealed up and made the car go fast, too.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. making his 100th career start here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Remember the team cars a week ago at Las Vegas, the 88 and the 5, 1-1 and 1 spun. With 4 laps to go, Mark Martin was in the 5 car back then. Brad Keselowski says, you know what? It was this race a year ago when I was driving for someone else that Dale Earnhardt Jr. saw me and then talked to me a week later and said, you thought I did a pretty good job. I lost 3 laps because of a problem, but I came back and I made 1 up on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's what this series is about, giving these young guys an opportunity to be seen, because, you know, owners, other drivers are all looking at what's taking place. And now we see that Brad's kind of following his car owner up there, up to the high side of the racetrack. That's where we expect to see Junior running. I know he loves to race at this place, and I stayed up all night last night ready for this in-race report. I had all these good questions, and that's what I was going to talk to him about, was him running this high line.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is our in-race reporter, and we will visit with him when we get a caution flag. There is the car he also owns. And there's the guy they're chasing, Kyle Busch, who is leading here, has led all 26 laps thus far. We told you he's tough to beat in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He was here last night as he won for the 3rd time.
Under caution here on lap 29 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Pit stop's about to begin. Kyle Busch brings him down pit road as we look for the first series of pit stops for the leaders. The first guy down pit road, Kevin Harvick. His car a little bit tight. They're going to make a 4-tire change in fuel. Also an air pressure adjustment on the left side tires, taking a ½ pound out. Let's go to Shannon.
Well, Mike, your leader, Kyle Busch, just asking to free that car up a little bit. They're going to do that with air pressure, 4 tires, and fuel. Jamie.
Earl Edwards came in. He said he's tight through the center. The car feels pretty good, but he was bottoming just a bit. They're just going to make a slight air pressure adjustment. 4 tires and fuel for Carl. Dave?
Jeff Burton said, my car needs to turn better. They make an air pressure adjustment in the 4 tires. They are, he nearly stalls it. He's going to come in second, and he's going to go off pit road second to Kyle Busch. Doc?
Kyle Busch leads them off of pit road. Here's the reason for the caution flag coming out on lap 28. Contact between teammates. Dario Franchitti in the 40 car. 18-year-old Brian Clausen. There's the contact. Franchitti spins, and the yellow flag waves. Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway under caution for the 2nd time today here in the early laps of the NASCAR Nationwide Series event. All the leaders have been on and off pit road, and a lot of action aside from changing tires in the pits. Let's show you what happened here just a moment ago. Watch for the contact.
See Clint Boyer coming in for his 4-tire stop. Got that roof cam showing these guys, and all of a sudden here comes another car the wrong way. The 47 car, Kelly Byers, and then looks like maybe the 37 of Biffle may have contacted the back of that car.
Yeah, look. Yeah, I think we see there as Kelly Byers was slowing down to get in his pits a little bit more. Greg wasn't anticipating that.
3, 2, right here.
Right in with Mike Wallace here.
So rubbing on the racetrack and a little bit of contact in the pits there. Kelly Byers coming off that top 15 finish last week at Las Vegas, driving for Tad Geschechter. Kyle Busch back up front after pit stops. Jeff Burton in second spot. Green flag waving here once again at Atlanta. Well, guys, Kyle Busch just jumps in the throttle and pulls an extra car length or 2 down the backstretch in front of the 29 car of Burton. Rudeman, Harvick, Edwards, and Earnhardt Jr. back there battling 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Jeff Burton's been the only one to really hang with Kyle Busch. Maybe he made an adjustment or 2 on his car, and he can get up there and dice it up with him. What was that? As Brad called it pre-race, Dyson and Darton?
Yeah, Dyson and Darton. I think Brad coined that phrase. That's what we're having here. Whoops. Here's Clint Boyer. Now he's getting a little racy after dropping back after this pit stop. He's pulled right up on the inside now, trying to make a move by the 60 car of Carl Edwards.
Well, that's a great shot of 3-wide racing.
Whoa, the 5 car of Earnhardt Jr. I think, DJ, you mentioned in the commercial, watch out for the 5, because prior to that caution flag, he was the fastest car on the racetrack.
Yeah, he'd gotten that high line worked out. We see now, while he's on fresh tires, though, these guys prefer to be down on the bottom for 5 or 6, maybe even 10 laps. His car seems to be working extremely well. It says his car's a little bit loose. Looked like they fixed that now, and he's able to get in the gas and go towards the front. He'll be back on the high side here before long, I'll assure you. Matt Kenseth kind of forced him up a little bit right there, but his car was really carrying a lot of speed down the straightaway from running that high line.
Side by side for 5th position. Kenseth likes the bottom side. Looks like Earnhardt Jr., as you mentioned, DJ, trying to get up high and hang on to the position. There he goes.
Yeah, this will be a progression. You see, he's moved up about 1.5 lanes from the bottom, and then probably, I would say, 15 or 20 laps, if we can run that long, you're going to see right up against the wall. So he's just making steps up towards the top.
I was watching the lap times, particularly the 20 car of Kyle Busch, and then kind of comparing that to what Junior was running, because Junior was the fastest car. And what you've got right there, you got Kyle Busch can get out there. He's way out right now, you see. And the key thing for Junior is not to let him get too far away, because if we can run 20, 25 laps, he'll start reeling him back in. And if he hasn't lost too much ground, he can take the lead.
There's a 17 car of Matt Kenseth. You see him now trying to go pie his Roush Fenway teammate Carl Edwards and gain the spot. More with him from Mike Massaro.
Well, Doc, DJ kind of alluded to it. He thought that, it might be a progression for the 17 team, and that's exactly right. Matt radioed in not too long ago saying that he's terrible early on in fresh tires. The first 4 or 5 laps, he's not very good, but as the run goes on and tire pressures build up, he gets much better. And keep in mind, this is a pretty good race car for him. He won with it 2 times last year, both California and Texas, so he expects to run pretty well this afternoon.
Yeah, Matt's a guy that generally is going to keep his car right on the very bottom, but I think this is a racetrack and a tire that they have here this weekend that you're going to have to be ready to adjust with this racetrack, and that's what makes it so much fun, why drivers love to race here. There's not a lot of grip in the asphalt that we have here, but you've got a lot of space to climb around and see where your car is going to be best.
Well, Doc asked me what kind of driver did I want, what I like to have for this kind of a race, and that's the driver I want, the guy that's looking around trying to find that grip.
DJ, why is it some drivers like to run the bottom of the racetrack and others want to run up where they can almost feel the paint scratching the car on the wall?
Yeah, it's just a preference of what you get, what you want to feel in your car. You have people like Matt Kenseth and Mark Martin that come to mind that really like to run the bottom of the racetrack. They want to make their cars turn, and then they can drive it a little bit free on the exit whenever that happens. That's the fastest way around that they see. Then you have other guys that like to have that momentum. They don't necessarily have to drive it into the corner that hard, but they pick the throttle up early, and they want to drive it all the way around the corner, and they use that wall kind of as a buffer and a gauge for them. So it's just preference and what you want to feel with your race car.
Casey Kane, by the way, the 9 car, making a move inside of the 2. Kane, a 2-time winner last year in the Nationwide Series, has won here in the Cup car back in 2006. Of 195 laps are in it here. The 20 car of Kyle Busch. He is the class of the field right now in the Joe Gibbs Toyota, but Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Burton are on their way back toward him. We'll follow up when we come back.
Live at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ESPN2. Kyle Busch out in front, as he has been since the start of this race. 2 cautions so far. No major incidents, and Busch pacing Jeff Burton by about a second and 2/10 right now. Sketch up to speed. A quick run through the reports on some of the top 10 cars. Shannon leads us off with the leader.
Well, Alan, Kyle Busch on that last pit stop asked to be freed up a little bit. He wants it looser. Now, we heard Kyle Busch explain his definition of loose to Jamie Little in the pre-race show, but I asked his crew chief, Dave Rogers, just how loose is that car? He said crazy loose. He's never set a car up that loose, and most drivers in the garage, he said, could not drive it. Dave.
Well, the winner of the most 2 recent races here, Jeff Burton, had a little air pressure adjustment done to his car that it really hasn't said too much on the radio. Since then, the car is still operating very good for Burton right now in 2nd place. Mike?
Before that last round of pit stops, Dave, Matt Kenseth radioed in saying he was sliding the nose and was losing traction with the rear wheels. They made an air pressure adjustment and a track bar adjustment, and it seems to have helped. The car has certainly stabilized as the 17 continues to surge towards the front.
5 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind them. Jr. trying to run well in this race car, had an inauspicious start to the day when the car would not start. He called the crew and said, hey, I apologize for that. I may have flooded it just a little bit. Remember, Jr., though he's a very experienced racer, is in his first year of driving these cars that are just a little bit different, and some things don't always operate the same way. Mike?
At the beginning of the year, when Kevin Harvick announced that he would not be running a nationwide competition with Richard Childress Racing, instead would be wheeling his own cars, a lot of people questioned that because of the competitiveness. And so far, it's paid off. Last week, 3rd, the week before, 4th, and running inside the top 5 again. A very good run for Kevin Harvick. Jamie?
And right behind him, Carl Edwards. What a heartbreak last weekend. He was charging there at the end, thought they had the car to win, only to be taken out by Mark Martin. Of course, Carl knows it was unintentional, but he said the best remedy for his cars to get back out there. We have a crash in turn 4, guys.
Jamie, we do have caution on the racetrack up in turn 4. A couple of cars involved. The 28 car, you saw him just trying to hang. He was rim riding on the outside. As Brian,
up. Back it up if you can.
Brian Keselowski and the 4 car of Robert Richardson Jr. involved.
We're just wrecked us.
There's the 4 car. Richardson trying to get that car righted. Some sheet metal damage on the back end and some damage on the left side. Here's the contactor just after he has spun. There's a 28 car in the left side.
Get a sense how fast these guys are going when they stop up against the wall. See how the cars just take up off the, up across the racetrack on the banking, and then they come back down.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if those 2 cars had contact to begin with that created. No, we can
one
see
spinning
there.
Here, spinning. Let's go down, but down. Nice shot.
Spotter telling Dale Earnhardt Jr. to stay to the inside. That's Brian Keselowski. He is the older brother of Brad by some 2 years. Trying to drive the rest of the year. And by the way, those are team cars. The 28 and the 4 are team cars for the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and they're trying to, I guess, raise the car up to get a jack under it. Under caution for the 3rd time today. We are told the leaders will not pit. We'll take a break and come back and see if the 29 car, who was reeling in the 20, can actually catch him when we go back to green here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is one of the most storied rivalries in all of college basketball, and it lives on ESPN tonight as Tyler Hansbrough and the North Carolina Tar Heels play in front of those Cameron Crazies when they take on Duke. The question is, can DeMarcus Nelson and the Blue Devils get a series sweep against their biggest rivalry? It's Saturday primetime, presented by DirecTV on ESPN at 9 o'clock Eastern tonight. Now, I know where Brad Daugherty's loyalties lie because he was an All-American at North Carolina. And by the way, that 29 car, Jeff Burton, he is a big-time Duke Blue Devil fan.
We're not even going to mention his name the rest of the broadcast. Told Jeff not to talk to me, maybe until tomorrow. We'll see how things turn out. But we're going to go over and play in that high school gym tonight. We're going to take it to him, boys.
Oh, boy. I think I know where Brad's. By the way, the Blue Devils did win at the Dean Dome early in the year.
That's
trying to get the
that's
sweep.
over with. That doesn't matter. Over with.
What a great rivalry. All-time, one of the all-time greats in college basketball. Coming up 9 o'clock Eastern time tonight. Duke in North Carolina. We got a rivalry here at the front of the NASCAR field. Toyota and Chevrolet. Pace car getting ready to pull away. Kyle Busch has been the class of the field. Jeff Burton's won the last 2 in a row. And folks, he was the fastest car prior to the caution a moment ago. Can he keep it up? But Busch has been awfully good at getting away. Can Burton hang on? Here they come. Green flag.
Spinning the tires here.
Yeah, that got
they go. They're
splitting. We're going to be 4 wide here in a second.
4 wide in turn 1. Harvick on the bottom of the racetrack.
Wow, man, that is cool.
Kevin Harvick goes all the way to the apron to take the lead coming off turn 2, but he'll have to get the start-finish line to be credited with it. Kenseth in second spot, and they are side by side for third.
You think his driver of his truck taught him that little restart trick, Ron Hornaday, the king of restart? Looked like that 20 car, Kyle Busch, though, seriously, just had a problem getting up to speed. His rear tire started spinning. He had a lot of pressure coming from Jeff Burton in that 29 car. He was going to jump on the outside of it. It's a good thing that Burton moved to the outside because he probably would have hit him in the back.
Yeah, it's a good thing all the experience of those guys. That could have been ugly, but it's just, you know, Kyle Busch had been leading this race. He's had everything his way. He was just going to jump out there and get another big lead, but his tires weren't ready to do that at that particular time. But we appreciate it because it makes for better racing as we watch him try to get back to the lead. Shannon?
Well, Dale, Kyle Busch just radioed into his team. He said, making it a little interesting. Don't worry, we'll get him.
Indeed, Shannon, he's going to do just that. He's got a Chevy on the bottom with Harvick, a Ford to the outside of him with Kenseth, and here comes a Toyota with Kyle Busch.
One thing we're seeing right here is that after these tires get a few laps on them, you know, the 20 car is still pretty good, but he's not as strong against the competition as he was on fresh tires.
He's not quite as strong, and it's interesting to see what his car does in traffic because these cars react totally different whenever you get behind other cars and you don't have all of that air going to the front and making that downforce.
That's a good point, DJ. And Kyle Busch hasn't been behind anybody hardly today.
No, just the lap cars he was catching is the only thing that he's been behind. But I'm sure that right now it's given him a chance to see exactly what his car will do in this type of situation for later in the race.
Got to give a call to Wally Rogers, the crew chief on this 33 car with Kevin Harvick. These guys have really been working, trying to get this team into this position where they are one of the boys to win the race. They know that Harvick is, but getting this team ready to win, they're almost ready to win. You got more on that, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, you hit right on it, really, Andy. You know, we spoke with Wally Rogers earlier this weekend, and we were really impressed by what this team's been able to do the last couple of weeks. 3rd and 4th in California and Las Vegas, and now leading this race. We asked him, well, what did it take to make this team so competitive? He said, well, we cut all the bodies off and started completely over. And, you know, I think there's a lot of folks out there that think that, you know, there's an alliance between KHI and Richard Childress Racing. Kevin says, not really. They don't share much information at all. The only thing they have in common is their engine program. Brad?
Yeah, Mike, I talked to Wally, too, and he said this is, Harvick gave them basically an open checkbook. He said, you build new cars, you do whatever it takes. I want this car to win, and that's what they're doing.
Absolutely, Andy, and I talked to Kevin extensively about that. I asked him, I said, you know, your cars seemed to struggle last year a little bit. And I said, what's the difference this year? And he said, Brad, it's myself. You know, being able to sit in that seat consistently and have this team be built around me is going to give us consistent performance. You're going to see it as we go on. We're going to grow and get better week in and week out. And there's no doubt about it. This cat is a hot shoe, and he's got a great team going into the future.
Kevin Harvick now has slid back to second spot, and as you heard Shannon Spake say a moment ago, the crew chief Dave Rogers told Kyle Busch go get him, and guess what? He did.
He didn't waste much time in getting that thing back to the front. And just one more point on Kevin Harvick. You know, as satisfying as those wins were driving the 21 car for Richard Childress, when he takes this car to victory lane, that's when we're going to see him really excited, because there's nothing better than taking your own equipment, building your own team to the point that you can go to victory lane.
And DJ, you know how much we talked to him in the garage here, how much Kevin Harvick wants to win in his own equipment and be able to build his team, and you won't see any more excitement than what he showed us a moment ago on that restart. Now, when the restart happened, Harvick was going to go all the way to the inside and go 4 wide to be able to take the lead. Here they come. This is the green flag just a few laps ago.
Yeah, he goes by the 5 car on the outside and then jumps to the inside.
He makes it 4 wide getting into turn 1.
That was just a great restart. Yeah, Ron Hornaday apparently has been on to him about his restarts. I always thought it was just Ron. It might be something in these guys' transmission, but I think it's just that they're really good at that. Dave?
And guys, on that restart, the 29 car of Jeff Burton going to the outside of Kyle Busch may have damaged that left front fender. The handling has changed just a little bit for Jeff, but maybe we should take a close-up of that and see if we can see any dents on the left front fender of the 29 car.
Definitely some tight quarters when they went right here through this tri-oval, Dave, so he could have gotten some damage.
And it doesn't take much to make a difference in these cars, because they work extremely hard, especially on the front end of these cars, to get all the downforce there they can. So if there's any damage at all, it can change the handling characteristics.
So as a driver, you can feel a couple of inches of fender being bent maybe in the front of the car?
You know, here a couple of years ago, I had the left front get knocked in on my car a little bit, and my car had been tight, and I got so loose, which I wouldn't have thought that it would have made it like that, but it was so loose that it was unbelievable. Couldn't even drive the car. And we fortunately got a caution after that and could work on it, but I couldn't believe how much it changed that.
Well, the concern was on the restart. Was there damage on the 29? Now, here is the onboard camera from the restart.
Green flag, green flag.
I think he might be okay here.
Yeah,
just got real close, but I'm not sure he got any damage from this.
Yeah, it didn't really look like anything there, and I would say that probably the recycling of the tires there is probably what's created Jeff's problem more than anything.
Kyle Busch showing the way here, lap 64 of 195. Matt Kenseth in second spot. Harvick, Jeff Burton, Clint Boyer in the top 5. Earnhardt Jr. back in 6th. And by the way, Bobby Labonte now in the top 10. He has gained some 17 spots.
Coming up on 70 of 195 laps complete here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're about 2/3 of the way through a fuel run for most of these cars, so let's get you nationwide up to speed and get some of the pit strategy as we approach another round of pit stops. We'll start with the leader, Kyle Busch, and Shannon Spake.
Well, Alan, of course, that car, number 20 car, has been to victory lane twice this season with Tony Stewart behind the wheel. In California, the last time it went to victory lane, Dave Rogers, the crew chief, told Kyle Busch in victory lane, I expect to bring home the hardware in Atlanta. Right now, the car is getting a little bit tight for Kyle, but he is certainly running away with the lead. Mike?
Toward the end of last year, I had a conversation with Matt Kenseth's crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer, where he told me he was extremely frustrated with the way 2007 played out. They had finished second 7 times and had not gone to victory lane more than twice. He felt like they could have won 9 races last year. Again, they're running in that position they're frustrated with. Second, he certainly does not want to add to that tally. They want to get to victory lane here today. Right behind him in the 33 car, Kevin Harvick having a remarkable run, looking for his 3rd consecutive top 5. Right now, feeling like the car is very good. Just radioed in saying, whatever you guys did on that last pit stop, it's certainly working. Dave?
The 29 crew monitoring that left front fender. Don't think they really have any issue with it. And during this run, actually, a little better turning, but still some overall lack of grip for Jeff Burton. They think they can take care of that on the next stop. Jamie?
And behind him, Clint Boyer still looking for his first win of the year. He said just now on the radio, actually, he said he's plowing. That air pressure adjustment did nothing for him on that last stop. He said, guys, this is boring out here. I need this car to turn. So Clint Boyer struggling with that 2 car as of now. Right behind him, Carl Edwards, defending Nationwide Series champion. Carl said his car's a little loose now. They made some good adjustments that helped him, but it freed that car up just a bit too much. He's keeping track of those leaders up ahead. He wants to bring home another victory here in Atlanta. Shannon?
Well, Jamie, Bobby Labonte in the number 21 car, currently running 7th. Spoke with crew chief Shane Wilson this week and asked him how the car was. He said it's just been okay, and he's very frustrated because this car, in fact, the number 21 car, went to victory lane with Jeff Burton behind the wheel in 2006. Shane Wilson told me we really expected to be better since this was a winning car. Dave.
The 88 of Brad Keselowski right behind him has been having conversations about where to run his race car with Tony Eury Sr. on the pit box for him today. He's running the high line right there. Pops wanted him to run the low line so they could work on tuning that car to the low line. We need to be better in the low line, were the words of Pops Eury. As for the 5 car behind him, team owner Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's been running fairly well since the last run, but tight right now. The car won't turn real well. They plan to stop around lap 89 or 90 and put a wrench to the rear of that car, make a wedge adjustment to try to make it turn just a little bit better. And Casey Kane coming up towards the top 10 on lap 58. He said the front doesn't want to work very good from the center off. They will try to make an adjustment for that next time he comes down pit road. Alan?
All right, so there are the status of the top 10 as we work our way toward a set of pit stops. Keep your eye on that lap counter on the top of the screen. Round lap 90, we will see these front runners on pit road, barring a caution flag between now and then. Kyle Busch dominating thus far in Atlanta like he did a year ago, but he did not win last year.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, where Kyle Busch has now led 3 times for a total of 75 laps. We invite you to join us tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Time for NASCAR Now. Some of the biggest names in sports, analysis, opinion, debate, all that and more, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, NASCAR Now Monday at a different time due to basketball tournaments, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And, of course, next Saturday, our live flag-to-flag coverage from Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway on ABC at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Kyle Busch continuing to lead the way here in the 20 car. He dominated a year ago, led 143 laps, only to have a miscue with 15 laps to go in the pits. And he was able to drive back and finish 3rd. Now, one of the cars that we were watching early on today, the 99 car, backsliding through the field. With more on him, let's check in with Mike Massaro.
And, Doc, a similar problem that has plagued the 99 team throughout the course of the season. Jerry Baxter said earlier this weekend, our biggest problem, we haven't been able to put together an entire race. So early in this race, he was running up in the top 10. Now he's faded deep inside the field. Car extremely loose, so much, in fact, they stopped earlier under caution, and they made an adjustment, a track bar adjustment, no tires, gave up 9 positions on the racetrack, but the car just has not responded.
We don't get a yellow, bud. I'm afraid we're going to go a lap down as bad as it's getting. I don't know if it's his tires or what, bud, but it's awful. It's no better. Gary, I can't turn. I can't put any steering input in at all. We'll fix you on this next set of tires, Dave. Just hang in there, brother.
At one point just before that exchange, he thought that after 10 or so laps the car would come in. It has not. He describes it as horrible. For more on air pressure, let's go to our Dish Tech Center and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Mike. What we're going to show you here, folks, we've got 2 valve stems here. We can control the pressure in this area of the tire, which sets on the racetrack, as well as the inner liner right here. And a lot of times when guys get really loose, they'll call the crew chief and say, hey, put me a little bit more air pressure inside the liner. And what that does, it makes it stiffer in this area right here, stiffen up the sidewall. This air pressure container, it's pretty effective down here, especially when you're in a bad situation like really, really loose and it's not getting any better. You got to make a drastic change. This is probably the way he's going to go, up the air pressure in both containers. Jerry?
Thanks, Tim. Obviously, the 99 of Ruderman has his hands full. Here is the 9 car of Casey Kane on pit road. Dave?
Doc, the first car to hit pit road in this sequence, Casey is complaining of a car that the front end will not turn. They have offered him the whole menu of adjustments all day long, but Casey's only wanted air pressure adjustments on this race car. It appears it's going to be the same way this time. 4 tires on the 9, and Kane will wait and head off pit road. Mike.
And Brian Vickers on pit road right now. No word exactly why this is going to happen. An unscheduled pit stop on the 32 car. They've had problems with tires in the past, trying to get a little bit more conservative because they had a tire blowout a week ago. That may be the issue. We'll look into it a little bit further. But right now, Vickers on pit road.
And 37 making his way on down pit road. That, of course, is Greg Biffle. This was a change that just happened this week. They took Brad Baker out of the car, put Greg Biffle in. He said, I have no idea what I have. I was thrown into this deal, but they're working on the car. He started off loose. They're making a couple adjustments. 4 tires and fuel for that 37. Guys?
Topping off with Sunoco fuel there, making a stop. Here comes the leader, Kyle Busch, down pit road. He slows down to 45 miles an hour as the Dave Rogers and the crew for Joe Gibbs are waiting on him to make his stop. Shannon.
Well, Doc, Dave Rogers watches on. Kyle Busch is saying that the car is getting a little bit tight, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment, try to free him up. We all know how Kyle Busch likes a loose race car as those guys go around the other side. 4 tires of fuel for Kyle Busch. They take the tear off. Having a little bit of slope. They're down and away.
Well, that was a real slow stop for Kyle Busch, having trouble on the rear, looks like.
Matt Kenseth exiting the pits. You see there's Kevin Harvick in, getting tires. Mike?
And Kevin Harvick having service done to his car right now, saying the car is very good. No major adjustments, just a slight air pressure adjustment. 4 tires and fuel on the 33, guys.
While you watch Kevin Harvick stop, we'll mention for you Casey Kane fans, he had to come back down pit road because of a loose lug nut in the 9 car. Here is Earnhardt Jr. in for his stop. Dave.
On pit road to get some adjustments on this race car. He called it tight, won't run the bottom. They want to make a wedge adjustment. A wrench would go through the rear window for that. You see the crew cam going in. There's the adjustment right there. They'll put on 4 tires as well, give him fresh rubber heading out. Not a bad car for Junior today, but it hasn't shown the muscle to get up front with a guy like this. Jeff Burton coming into pit road right now. He said this car is running too cold. Listen to my temperatures. I need to get him up. Can you put something on the front end? Let's see if they'll do that right now as they come around the front of the car. See if they'll add tape or something. They've waved off on it so far. Remember they had the left front fender issue as well. That appears to have corrected itself. No other. There it is right there. Get this car warmer. It makes more horsepower if the temperatures are optimum. Now he leaves pit road.
There's a 9 car back in. There's the 88 of Keselowski in for his stop. The leader was the 2 car of Boyer. Now he is in, as is Edwards.
And Clint Boyer, you know, I told you, he said he was a little bored out there. His car didn't want to turn, so they're going to make some adjustments. They're going to go 1 round up on that track bar and make an air pressure adjustment. And 4 tires, fuel for Clint Boyer. Hopefully he's going to get her loosened up a little bit and have some fun out there. He's down and away. Doc?
We are being told that the 2 car of Clint Boyer hit the commitment cone as he was coming on the pit road. Let's show you a moment ago. He's peeling off the racetrack. It's got to be tough to get woed down there.
Yeah, you've been going so fast around the racetrack. You're trying to get in here as fast as you possibly can. This is a tough pit road to hit and judge, actually. And we can see Clint locked up the brakes, sliding a little bit. I guess that's okay.
I'm not sure it is. He might be getting a penalty for that. I don't know if that's okay or not.
We heard he nicked it. He more than nicked the commitment.
Yeah, he did. He hit that thing pretty good.
He was across the line, and I think that's all you got to do. They're the ones who put the cone out there. So.
Possibly a problem with Carl Edwards. Let's listen to his radio.
Listen, man, we keep going. It's going to blow up. It's not getting better. We need to look and see if it's a plug wire.
So obviously a concern over an engine problem.
He's feeling something in there that he knows is not right, and if he keeps running and think could just explode the engine, he doesn't want to do that. He would feel better if he knew it was a plug wire or something simple.
Yeah, that you always wish that's what it was. You know, about 95% of the time it's not. But he's come back out. He seems to be running okay. And guys, they're discussing it. We see the 2 car. Apparently, Andy, that is something you can't do.
I guess that's a no-no.
Yeah, pass-through penalty here for Clint Boyer.
I don't have to stop, do I?
He will not stop. As he comes down pit road to leave, we'll mention the 64 car. David Stremme will be coming back on the pit road because of a missing lug nut. Andy, these guys try so hard to get these lug nuts tight, and a mistake like that really, really hurts you.
Well, I've seen a lot of mistakes on pit road. We've seen these loose lug nuts. We've seen people dropping the jacks. We've seen a lot of mistakes, and it could be because these crews are so cold down there.
I think you're exactly right, Andy. It's tough to be there and then be ready and have to jump over there on a day like this where it's already cold, the wind's blowing 25 or 30 miles an hour. It's a very difficult job, and that's when mistakes can happen.
I've been down there, and my hands will get just about numb, and it's just just so hard to make good pit stops and be accurate when you're that uncomfortably cold.
Jason Leffler was the leader. He comes on now for what is his routine scheduled stop. Jason, by the way, his first DNF last week at Las Vegas in 32 races. He had problems there involving an accident early.
It's like Bobby Hamilton Jr. needs to get in and get him some Sunoco fuel.
Watching Bobby Hamilton Jr. had a good top 15 last week at Las Vegas. Ed Renzi, one of the NASCAR nationwide only drivers.
And these guys were able to stay out a little bit longer. They had pitted under the previous caution where the leaders had opted to stay out, so that's why they're able to stretch it out just a little bit more.
Kyle Busch, who's had the car to beat on the racetrack, and we were commenting a moment ago about the a fairly lengthy pit stop a moment ago for the Joe Gibbs guys. Shannon?
Yeah, Doc, I checked in with the team. They told me that, in fact, on that left rear, they believe one of the guys dropped a lug nut, and that's what took them so long to get through that pit stop. But very confident. Dave Rogers came over the radio, told Kyle Busch. Of course, you're looking at the front tire there. It was the left rear that actually gave them a little bit of an issue, as you can see right there. But Dave Rogers, very confident in his driver's ability and very confident in this car, told him, don't worry about it, we'll get him.
Shannon, it was 1 year ago that just like this, Kyle Busch was dominating here at Atlanta, but he was in the 5 car. He had led 143 laps, 15 laps to go. This pit stop, watch the left front.
So these guys, the lug nut flies off the car, and they couldn't stop Kyle quick enough to get it back on there, so they had to come back in and make another stop. You can see here, Kyle was not real happy about that.
He came back after coming in for that lug nut in 15th spot and drove it all the way back up to 3rd position, but he ran out of time and ran out of laps, DJ, and just couldn't quite get it done. A little frustrated when he climbed out of the car. 97 of 195 laps are in the books here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch once again being shown as the leader.
We come back to the Atlanta Motor Speedway just past the midway point of this race, and caution flag is out for the 4th time. Brad Coleman, the second-year driver out of the Houston, Texas area, has had a little bit of trouble.
Having a difficult time there, Alan, but I'll tell you what, I just don't see anyone that has anything for Kyle Busch at this point in time. He is just dominating this race, and unless someone catch up with him on these restarts, I think we might see this young man stay up front all day long.
See some of the facts and figures in our Holiday Inn Express race summary, but the story of the day has been Kyle Busch. Led early, led often, even came back from a really long pit stop under that green flag sequence and came out of the exchange with the lead.
And that shows what kind of hot rod Kyle Busch has under his right foot. He can come back from in the middle of the pack and go right back to the front. It's going to be a long day for the contenders.
Now, it's only been between 10 and 18 laps for some of these front runners from when they pitted last. They're coming to the opening of pit road here. Are we going to see some pit? I was speculating, you and I were talking before we came back from the commercial, yes. Let's see.
I would think so, Alan. I mean, this is a great opportunity to get a quick pit and get back out, maybe get 2 tires, get a little fuel.
First 5 or 6 stay out. A couple of them are going to come in. That looks like a lot of the cars that are back in a lap down area. Kenny Wallace there. 59 car comes down pit road. Marcus Ambrose, and some of these guys had not yet pitted before this sequence of stops was complete. So they're all going to get back on the lead lap by virtue of being able to stay out.
Yes.
And catch this caution flag, and a good break for Ambrose and the others.
Track position. Great opportunity for these guys. Like you say, once the big-time pit stops start taking place here in a few laps, then they get the track position back.
Now, Junior's car had been falling back before the caution flag, catching some of the team radio there. See David Reagan also on pit road behind him. But the 5 car here, he'd been falling back just before the yellow flag wave.
Seemed to be having a little bit of struggle on the handle of the race car. Just couldn't quite get the car underneath Junior. But after this pit stop, let's see if they can make some adjustments and get him back up front.
What are they working on, Dave?
Wrecking loose. That's the kind of handling that a driver really wants some help with. Again, loose race car is fast, but you got to have it under control. Junior didn't feel like the car was really under him. They took the wedge back out that they had put in the last stop, Alan.
So Junior going to drop back to about 16th or 17th in line after the cycle of pit stops. Come back for the restart in a minute. It's been a Kyle Busch day so far here in Atlanta. He's out in front of Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick.
We welcome you back to the Nicorette 300 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. NASCAR Nationwide Series action. Yes, we are under caution for the 4th time today. And there is the car behind the wall. We mentioned the caution was for problems for the 27 car, Brad Coleman. Brad coming off that top 10 finish at Las Vegas a week ago, driving for Baker Curb Motorsports, and he gets up against the outside curbing here with his Ford. Has some damage on the right side. And the lucky dog was the one car, the Aaron's lucky dog, Johnny Sauter, able to get one of his laps back. As we now have 18 cars on the lead lap, including Sauter as the final car on the lead lap. Kyle Busch leads him down to the green flag. Matt Kenseth, then Harvick. Jeff Burton is there. Edwards, Keselowski, Bobby Labonte, and the guy you talked about is maybe one guy to watch today, Mike Bliss, having a great run in 8th spot in that 22 car.
Yeah, he's just been steady all day. Now he's up in the top 10. See if he can do something with these boys. Make me look good.
Yeah, well, Kyle Busch didn't spin his tires that time, so he's jumped out to about a 8-car length lead already before we can get one lap completed here. So he took away the drama that he created the last time for us.
That thing is long-legged, what I call it. When you've got an engine that runs like the engine in that 20 car, it is long-legged.
Yeah, pretty forgiving race car, huh, DJ, from a driver's standpoint. You can make a mistake when you got a car like that.
Oh, look here, boys.
Yeah, we got 3 wide racing on the back stretch. Your man
look at Junior.
Junior on the outside. He had made a pit stop there last time to fix a really loose race car. So got that thing tightened up. He's ready to stand in the gas.
Fresh Goodyear tires on the 5 car. And where does he go?
Looking for an opening.
Right through the middle of them here.
There it is. 1 and 2. Like the sea parted for him right there.
Got an inexperienced driver to his left there, Cale Gale, making only his 2nd start this year, but is able to get by him in the corner.
We've seen some of these guys chasing the racetrack, Dale. Does this track change a lot as from the start to the finish?
Yeah, I think you feel like that you just totally run out of grip, and so you're just trying to find somewhere that as you make changes to your car and the track changes somewhat, then you're trying to find that grip, and there's just not a lot to be had. As we see the 88 car, Brad Keselowski, slided in the middle of 2 cars down in 1 and 2 as they go into 3.
He will lose a spot. The 21 car just going around him for position. That is Bobby Labonte in the black car with the white 21 on the side. As Labonte now coming from back in the pack to get up into the 6th position.
That's a guy you can call Mr. Atlanta, the way he's run here before.
Bobby, the winningest active driver at this racetrack, 6 victories in Cup competition Bobby has had. And by the way, great starting spot for Sunday's Cup race. He qualified 5th.
Yeah, they've got things going a lot better there, and he just has a feel for this racetrack. It's just amazing. I wanted to point out something about the track here for a second. As you can see, where the track seams are and the tar that's in the black strip, as you hit those as a driver, whichever end you hit it with, that part of the car wants to take off. So that's why you see these guys a lot of times either straddle that or trying to stay below or in the middle of those seams, because it makes it really difficult. Shannon, you have more on Bobby Labonte?
Yeah, Bobby Labonte's been battling a tight race car. He said that last pit stop they came down, made an air pressure adjustment. Said it did loosen up the car a little bit, but it's still a little tight through the center. Bobby Labonte, of course, in that 21 car, 2-time champion in the Richard Childress Racing Camp.
There's Bobby's progression from 27 starting spot. And a moment ago, there's the 5 car. You saw him go by. I'm going to go out on a limb here and think they might have helped that 5 car with that pit stop.
Well, the biggest thing they got is 4 new tires, and he's making the most of them right here.
Dale, we're sitting down here in turn 1, and as you watch these guys go off into the corner, we've got these big wind gusts down here of 30, 40, sometimes 50 miles an hour. I noticed some of these cars seem to just take off up the racetrack. What's that all about? What's going on with these race cars?
Yeah, when that wind hits the race car, as hard as it's blowing here now, it just depends on where it gets and what your car's doing. It seems to accentuate the problem that you may be having. So if the front end's not getting down, we see Junior down looking for grip. We were talking about grip. He's down on the apron trying to find some. But it just really will accentuate the problem that you're having. If your car is loose, it seems that it pushes that front even more and gets the back end loose. If you're not able to get the front down, then that's the problem that it creates even more for you. So it really creates havoc. It's blowing down the backstretch. It's going to send you off into turn 3 faster, but if it's blowing at you as you try to get into the corner, it really makes it more difficult. Dave?
And DJ, this is one of those weekends where practice really paid off for Junior and his interim crew chief, Lance McGrew. He said during practice yesterday, this thing feels like a wheelbarrow. That's how it started. It was the rear end was hooked up, but the front wouldn't turn. But they got it to where they could deal with it. And then Junior told Lance one thing. He said, don't change it too much just because it's going to be cold tomorrow, really cold. He said, I don't think it's going to hurt the car that much. They made one adjustment that might have hurt it today, but generally, they've been on pace today.
Dave, great point. And for those that just may have joined our coverage, as you watch the 5 car now take this position away or go by or try to go by the 2 car. By the way, the 2 car have struggled a little bit this afternoon, Clint Boyer. But yesterday to today, 30-degree temperature drop. It snowed this morning. The wind chill here at Atlanta Motor Speedway now estimated to be about 26 degrees with the winds gusting at 25 to 30 miles an hour and the air temperature about 37 to 40 degrees.
Be interesting to see how this plays out, but Andy made a great point that 5 car has on 4 tires that these other guys don't. Now, as long as they have tires for the end of the race, that's going to be really good. He's feeling like Superman right now. He's close to that anyway, but he's really feeling like that because he's got tires and the rest of them don't.
Well, we talked about the 2 car. Boyer behind him. For more on his tires, let's check in with Jamie.
That's right, Doc. You keep talking about these tires. There were a lot of questions. What would the wear be like with all these changing conditions? Last pit stop for Clint Boyer, 60 laps on the tires. You see the cording. This is what we're talking about. The rubber actually wears through to the cords underneath. Now, if you come up and you look over my shoulder here, Brad Coleman pulled over right here. What happened to him? He was on old tires and he blew, and he's back in the garage, guys. That's what led to him hitting the wall when he was running in the top 10. So tires starting to be an issue, guys.
Tire wear, aggressive driving, speeds, everyone trying to run down Kyle Busch, who has dominated today, leading for over 100 laps. Kevin Harvick, can he run him down? He just took the 2nd spot away from Matt Kenseth. 119 laps in the books. It is Busch, Harvick, Kenseth, Burton, and Edwards in the top 5. Earnhardt Jr. back in 6th, but he is coming.
72 laps to go in the NASCAR Nationwide Series 300-miler at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch continuing to dominate. He has led 107 of the 123 laps so far. Remember, he did this a year ago. He didn't win. It went away in the last 30 laps. Want to look back just a little bit at a couple of the other guys having notable runs. Remember, we documented troubles for David Rudiman in that last long green flag run? Well, lo and behold, they caught a caution. He was able to get back on the lead lap, and now Rudiman, Brad, has run his way all the way back up into the top 10.
Shows great patience by that race team. They really struggled earlier. You know, David had an ill-handling race car. Crew chief told him just to be patient. They got him in. They got him fixed. They got that car comfortable under him. And like you say, he's all the way up to 8th position, and it looks like he's going forward in a hurry.
Just behind him on the racetrack, David Reagan is running in 9th spot. Remember, we talked with Reagan on our NASCAR Countdown. Hometown guy. He's from about 50 miles south of here in Unadilla, Georgia. Went home to see his grandparents this week and spend some time with the hometown friends. David's another one. Caught the caution flag by staying on the racetrack and pitting right at the end of the green flag window. That yellow kept him on the lead lap. He stopped and got fresh tires on the lap 103 caution, and it's brought him into the top 10. Another guy I want to point out, just a couple spots farther back, Jason Leffler, one of the Nationwide Series regulars.
Jason's doing a great job. That Tom Braun Toyota, he's done a good job of really keeping that race car clean all day long, and he'll do a super job at the end of this race. He's a good qualifier, as we know, but he's done a great job of racing today, so hopefully we can get Jason Leffler, one of our regulars, up front with a good finish today.
Same story for him, pitted at the end of the green flag window, then caught the caution, took some fresh tires. Here he is, trying to climb back into contention for a good finish. So with 69 laps to go, another round of pit stops still to come. Kyle Busch has dominated. Will he be running first, though, when it counts the most?
Don't need to say I'm sorry.
To win in Atlanta, you need a car that'll be fast on a long run.
You have to be adaptable, and you have to go wherever you want to go because the groove widens out, and you got to put your car where it needs to be.
Thirteen different drivers have been able to do that here at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the history of the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and Kyle Busch trying to join that crew today. Now, when you have as good a car as Kyle Busch has today, you can afford to let your mind wander a little bit. Let's listen into his radio.
That reminds me, nobody turned on my recorder so I could watch this thing when I get back to the motor home.
He was worried about being able to go back and watch this spanking he's putting on these guys.
Yeah, these are the kind of races you really, if you win this thing, if you're him, you want to go back and watch again.
Yeah, he's going to hear us talk about him a little bit, but he's going to realize that whenever you're out front that much, we have to watch other things. So he's not going to be on there as much as he thinks he was.
And he wants to make history, by the way. He currently is leading all 3 of NASCAR's National Touring Series. He won the NASCAR Craftsman Truck race here last night. His 3rd win in a row here at Atlanta. He currently leads the points in Cup. And, of course, if he can hang on and win here, he will leave here as the leader in the NASCAR Nationwide Series points.
All righty then.
Well, what about pit stops and fuel strategy? We're told the pit stops could be coming in about 10 laps. What about the fuel strategy? Let's check in with Shannon on our leader.
Yeah, Doc, Kyle Busch in that number 20 car. They've been chasing it, trying to loosen it up all race for Kyle. I guess they've got it pretty loose for him because he's been very quiet on the radio, just leading the lap, leading the race. And as you heard on the radio, very, very happy, very content, Kyle Busch. Mike.
You know, when you're a driver chasing a car as dominant as Kyle Busch, you're afforded a certain freedom. And, of course, that's the freedom to gamble. So when they head down pit road in about, well, say about 15 laps or so for green flag pit stops, expect to see the 33 of Kevin Harvick maybe do something a little bit different. It may be the only hope he has of reeling in the 20. The same can be said for the guy running in 3rd. That, of course, being Matt Kenseth. Kenseth has said at times over the last run that he feels like he's getting closer to the leaders, but not exactly sure he can beat them just yet. Jamie?
And Carl Edwards, his last pit stop, they tried to tighten him up a bit. He's been chasing this loose condition the entire race, loose center off, and he just came on the radio and said that right rear feels like it's overinflated, guys. We need an air pressure adjustment, but I think that's all we need. Carl Edwards has 2 fresh sets of sticker tires. Dave?
You can expect the 29 car of Jeff Burton to get some of those fresh tires as well, but you can also expect that piece of white tape you see on the front of that car. It was too big. Water temperatures up to 235, and the front grabbing too much. That'll loosen up a race car when you put tape on the front. So they need to adjust back on that to help Jeff out and make that car easier to drive. Right behind him, Dale Earnhardt Jr., not totally satisfied with the race car. Yeah, he's passed a lot of them, but they're talking about several adjustments they might make for their final run to the finish. Doc?
58 laps to go, guys. Thanks for the updates as the final pit stop for many of these guys coming up here momentarily. Can they make adjustments? Remember, it was Kyle Busch who led it, dominated a year ago, but had problems late. Could he be having something else? Listen in.
Motor's blowing up. What do you got, bud? Push boxes, push boxes. No better on me. It's oil pressure's fine. It's 55. Fuel pressure's 9. Volts, I got no volts.
Could be deja vu for Kyle Busch, worried about the car. Remember, a year ago he dominated, only to have a lug nut issue with 15 laps to go. He has been the class of the field here today as we have just 56 laps remaining.
His lap time seem to be holding up here. I don't know. He's probably feeling something funny, but the car's still running pretty good.
Yeah, you wonder, too. The wind might have picked up and created a little bit of that. I know this young man has a terrific feel for his race car. But if you get around cars and it may seem that it bogs you down just a little bit or something, it makes you think that something like that's going on.
I don't know how many times Harry Gant gave me a heart attack saying that. We'd be out front leading by a good bit, and he said, got a motor problem. And I think he just did it to get us excited.
Harry wouldn't do that.
Oh, yeah, Harry would. He got a kick out of it.
Kyle he probably knows we're listening in to everything that he said. He might just be trying to
he might be messing with us.
Coverage a little bit better.
Why the hell ain't some of it charging?
I think they're having a problem with the battery charging. Maybe have an alternator problem or a wire broken that's not charging the battery. And that will cause the engine to miss.
Yeah.
And could cause him a problem here.
Yeah, we might not see that problem come right now, but as we go on, it could be really bad. But his lap times, he's still the fastest car on the racetrack.
Yeah, if he's losing juice, he just beat Harvick by 0.2 of a second that last lap. So, Shannon?
We'll talk an exciting moment down here in the 20 pit stall, but it looks as right now, caution on the track.
05 spins. Whoa, hard impact in the outside wall. The 05 of Brett Rowe. Oh. His Chevy hits a ton.
That was a hard lick. Looked like it was just going to be a spin, and then he caught the outside wall. Pretty good clip.
And you can see the radiator in the front of the car, heavy hit.
Taken off of him or what? Tires probably wore out.
Trying to say the tires were maybe worn out, caused this problem?
Yeah, I don't think there's probably any doubt they're probably worn out.
Yeah.
They've been out there for quite a while on these things. And as we saw earlier with some of the teams, they are seeing some wear. And, you know, this is the reason as we look at the replay here. Coming off turn 2, you got the car down, pinched down, but you see his right rear was in that seam that we were talking about earlier. And a lot of times you get that in there, you just don't have the grip. You're trying to accelerate.
Now, if he'll just lock her down, just
Right
like
there.
Dick Beatty used to tell the drivers, he wouldn't have hit this wall. He just...
Yeah, so he was in the gas like he was trying to keep the car spun around, and he got the wheels going the wrong way. Created a hard impact, as you said, in the outside wall.
Learned a good lesson. If he just locked it down, he wouldn't have hit anything.
They used to tell all the drivers in drivers meeting, turn it hard left, stand on the brakes, and don't touch anything else, and it'll slide to the inside. Of course, he is trying to save it there, and he ends up getting damage on the front and the rear. Caution for the 5th time today. As the leaders come on the pit road, here's our Castrol GTX triple pits. Let's go down to Mike.
And Kevin Harvick on pit road looking for 4 fresh sticker tires. The car is just about perfect. Doesn't look like they're taking too many chances with this particular pit stop. 4 tires and fuel on the 33. Shannon?
Kyle Busch, a close call just moments ago. The team has had him go to the 2nd battery that they have in that car, and right now it seems as everything is fine. They're going to take 4 tires, fuel, and a slight air pressure adjustment. Jamie.
And Carl Edwards needed some rear grip. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, a small wedge adjustment. 4 tires, that is the money stop. They're hoping they'll make it to the end. Dave?
On that last run, Jamie Dale Earnhardt Jr. drove from 12th all the way up to 5th. He will take on 4 tires. The tires on the left side have less air pressure in them. They hope that will help Junior's car turn just a little bit better.
Money stop, guys, and all the top 6, no one changed at all. They held their positions. David Reagan gains 3. And Bobby Labonte up a spot. Under caution for the 5th time a day. Very, very hard impact for the 05 car of Brett Rowe into the outside wall. When we come back, the green flag and the run to the checker. Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, laps winding down here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series event. Under caution for the 5th time a day. Brett Rowe, hard impact into the outside wall with the 05 car. Now the cars have been on and off pit road for what may be their final stop. But while we're under caution, let's visit with our in-race reporter, Dale Earnhardt Jr., sitting in 5th position.
Junior Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Yep.
Hey, man, we know they've made a lot of adjustments on that car of yours today. How is it right now?
That last run, it was better. We put on tires, though. But, I don't know, we just seem like we're just a little bit off of what we need to be able to get up there and run with the 20. But, we got ourselves in a hole there, and we come right back out of it, so I'm pretty happy about that. We're sitting here in the top 5 with a shot at it.
As far as track conditions, bottom of the racetrack, better? We've seen you around the High Line a lot, and we know that's your favorite, but is there any place that's better for you?
Yeah, the car seems to decide that. Every 10 or 15 laps it'll be somewhere different. Just kind of keep moving around. The tires really, really slick. The car's real slick on the bottom of the track and just getting real loose down there. And after a long time of doing that, I just get fed up with it. Go run the top a little bit, see if I can't find some speed. But sometimes you have to go back to the bottom because the top ain't always the place to be. His tires seem to hurt the top a little bit.
All right, thanks, man. Good luck.
Thank you, man.
Hey, Lance McGrew, Andy Petrie, you got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4.
Hey, Lance, we're up here calculating this fuel mileage. Can you guys go all the way, and what do you think about your competitors here?
We can go all the way. I don't think anybody's going to have a problem. These cars get pretty good mileage now with this restricted plate, but I think everybody's going to be good to go from here.
If we get right down to the end of this thing, do you guys have another set of tires laying on the ground to put on here for a short run?
We got a set that we took off when the car was so loose we couldn't drive it after we made a untimely wedge adjustment, but they got a few laps on them, but we'll be okay.
Okay, I'll take that as a no, as you guys aren't looking for a late caution, but good luck, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Lance McGrew, by the way, a former championship crew chief. He helped Brian Vickers win a NASCAR Nationwide Series title in 2003 when Ricky Hendrick was the car owner back then. Now, today, last week, it was Mark Martin. He helped crew to victory lane at Las Vegas. Today, trying to get the 5-car with Dale Earnhardt Jr. a win. Big question is, can anybody handle Kyle Busch? 49 laps to go. Fresh tires up front. Let's see if Kyle can get away from Kevin Harvick and Kenseth and company.
Yeah, they haven't shown so far that they're any match for him. But, you know, as you change tires on these race cars and the track changes, things could get interesting. And we know Kevin Harvick's been really the closest one here in the latter part of the race.
He's the only one that's been able to keep that 20 car in sight. And you know he's motivated. He wants to try to get a win for this team, and he's right there. He's in the spot to challenge. But, man, look at that 20 car get going up that straightaway.
Well, look at the 29 on the outside. That is Jeff Burton and his teammate Clint Boyer down on the inside going by Johnny Sauter.
We look at Junior's car get through the middle of the corner.
Well, he really got a good run that time. He said he has to be down on the bottom for the first few laps. And then he'll try to move to the top. But if they've made a good adjustment for him there, he can make a little time here.
Yeah, by the way, Burton is 5th, Earnhardt Jr. is 6th. Boyer, by virtue of having that pass-through penalty, is a lap down, being shown in 18th position.
You see the lead there that Kyle Busch has gotten already. He's just incredible on these restarts, man. He just stays in the throttle and pulls away from these guys. And Kevin Harvick was having to deal with a lap car there of Casey Kane, who got that lap down because he had to make a pass-through penalty under a green flag pit stop.
That's the same thing that happened to Clint Boyer and got him down a lap. He had a little miscue, hit that cone on the entrance to the pits, and then had to make a pass-through penalty.
Inside of 50 laps to go. Harvick trying to hold off Kenseth. Edwards back there, Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Makes you wonder right here if Kyle Busch hadn't been playing with these guys all day. He just, when he decides to manage the gas, he gets going.
Yeah, how good is that 20 car considering what Tony Stewart did in the first 2 events of the year, winning back-to-back? And by the way, Stewart, he led 247 laps in 3 races, and today Kyle Busch in that car has led 133. So that 20 car has led over 3/4 of the laps thus far in 2008.
And, you know, Tony was running awfully good last week. He pitted, and some other guys just got fuel and stuff and got him back in the pack when he got in his accident. So that team really has everything together right now.
Here comes Matt Kenseth. This is the run that you can see what Matt's really got. Sometimes during the middle of the race, early in the race, you can't really tell what this 17 car has because Matt's just kind of getting everything lined up just like he needs it for the end of the race. But this is it. He's going to show us what he's got. And hopefully he's got something maybe for this 20 car.
While we watch Kenseth and these guys trying to reel in Kyle Busch, Shannon is caught up with Brett Rowe.
That's right, Doc. Big hit, but a smile on your face when you walked out of the Med Center. Are you all right?
Oh, yeah, we're doing all right. First of all, I want to thank the Lord for everything he's done for me. Got to thank 31W, Fox Automotive, and FMI Fireplace, everybody for helping me out here today. We just had an ill-handled race car all day, and it just finally got the best of us.
All right, well, good to see Brett Rose walked out of the medical center. Doc?
Wouldn't have seen those smiles years ago before they have all the safety innovations now, in particular that safer barrier on the outside, DJ.
Yeah, between that and the Hans device, I tell you, there haven't been 2 things any more important to driver safety.
Burton taking the spot away from Edwards. That's 4th position.
Last lap, Matt Kenseth ran just a little bit faster than Kyle Busch. About a 1/10 and a half.
Yeah, they probably tell Kyle Busch that over the radio, and he'll run about 3/10 quicker this lap just to show them that that's not to be they're not to be concerned too much. But hopefully, you know, this is the time. As you said, Andy, Matt Kenseth has worked on his car all day, and we'll see exactly what he's got here as we see a battle back in the pack of Bobby Hamilton Jr. here.
Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car, being shown in 26th spot. Johnny Sauter was 25th. They took that position away. Marcus Ambrose, by the way, the 59 car is on the lead lap in 14th position.
Here comes Harvick back around Kenseth for 2nd spot.
Yeah, it seems that he's freed his car up some, and it really won't go on the restarts, but it's really benefited him late in the run because his car has been a lot of times just as fast, if not a little bit faster than Kyle Busch when we get 25, 30 laps on the tires. The problem they have is they've let that 20 car get away, and they're going to have a hard time. Even if they're a tenth faster or a half a tenth faster as they get later in the run, Kyle Busch builds up such a big lead that it makes it difficult.
When that last caution came out, Harvick was about a second and a half behind Kyle Busch. In just a few laps now, Kyle Busch has pulled out 2.2 seconds on Harvick.
And by the way, we had heard about the possible engine issue going on with the 20 car and maybe something missing, and we have been told in commercial they have gone to a backup system.
They have a backup battery in the car, and if that thing's not charging, if the alternator quits charging, they can switch over to a battery in the car that's already charged up, and it should have enough reserve, and probably in the little time we have left, we'll have enough juice to get him to the finish.
39 laps to go. Everyone trying to catch Kyle Busch. Now, Jamie McMurray driving the 16 car with the City Financial onboard camera. Look at what happens when you get debris right in the camera lens.
One of the few things can get Brad Daugherty as excited as a NASCAR race is Duke and Carolina. Tonight from Cameron Indoor Stadium, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN and ESPN HD. I'm not sure I should give you an open microphone here because you're going to talk trash about one side in that contest.
Absolutely. We're going to go over there to Duke. That's D-O-O-K Stadium. Play a little b-ball tonight. We're going to see what happens.
Duke and Carolina, 9 o'clock Eastern Time tonight. Closing in on the finish, 32 laps to go. Kyle Busch continues to be out in front. Looking back here at a very good race for 6th place. You know, it's tough enough to race your teammate, let alone when he's the guy that writes your check.
I'm going to tell you what, Earnhardt Jr. pulled up on Brad Keselowski, went by him, and Brad just came right back up on him and went right around him. So they're running really hard. And as I was watching them run side by side there, you see Jr. get a little loose. I just cringed. The boss man was to get into the young student there, what might happen to us.
Man, I don't want to wreck the car that I own.
Not again.
Here's on the radio a minute ago.
There you go. You're full with them here. Got real loose down there. All clear. Good job, man. Get your rhythm here. Don't look in the mirror. Drive away. You just want to see how good you were there.
So great there for Keselowski. What a great day he's had. Top 10 just about all day long. Nice job for the young man and his bounce back from the disappointment at Vegas. Couple other people we want to kind of give a shout out to. Remember back at lap 30 we saw Kelly Byers in the 47 car get turned sideways on pit road?
Yes.
Nice comeback.
He has done a great job. He has kept that race car as clean as he possibly could. Had a little mishap on pit road, but Kelly's been real consistent all day. He started in the back of the field. He's running 13th. Good run thus far for Kelly Byers.
Young man from Wisconsin in 13th place. Also a couple spots farther behind him. Guy that continues to soldier on in this series, Jason Keller. This team looking for some sponsorship. And the guy who's made more starts in this series than anyone else is on the lead lap in his underdog car and running in the 16th spot. Nice job, Jason Keller.
Jason Keller, he is the Iron Man of this series. He is a really super race car driver. Those guys can get a few dollar bills. I think we could put this car up around the front, maybe get him back into victory lane.
Let's talk some Jason Keller. Jamie?
Well, Jason Keller, you guys, I talked to him a little while ago, and he said, hey, we have paint on the car this weekend. That right there is motivation. They have a sponsor on the car, as you can see there. They're looking to wrap up something for the entire season. Right now, they only have enough money and enough sponsorship to get them through the top 10 or the first 10 races of the season. Jason Keller, though, like you guys said, putting in another great run. Solid effort, single car team. I call him the team that could. Alan?
Yeah, great job today for the South Carolina driver. Very soft-spoken guy, but a family man, and has done a great job in this series for a long time. And Jason Keller, lead lap right now, and hanging in there with the big boys, if you will, who are in front of him on the track. Well, Doc, Kyle Busch has been the big boy all day long today. I bet you when you got a lead that big that you start to hear a lot of things rattling around in that race car.
Well, I got to believe that he's already heard some noises and some sputters and misses, and they switched to the backup battery and ignition, as Andy was talking about. But my heavens, I mean, the most dominant anyone has ever been in a nationwide race here was Mark Martin when he led 165 laps back in 2000, and Kyle Busch could eclipse that record today. He has already led 151 laps.
Tell you what, he has been dominant, Dale. Have you ever had a car that's been this dominant in a race before?
Wow, you know, it's nice when you get like that. Yeah, just a couple of times, and as a driver, that's the greatest feeling in the world, whenever you know that everything's going your way. But you do start, as Alan said, you do start hearing a few things every once in a while because it's going so good, but I don't think there's anything that's going to hold this young man back today. The car, he goes anywhere. I think that's been the difference, is when he catches traffic, depending on where they are, he goes the opposite place and really doesn't slow down, where the other guys are kind of committed to one part of the racetrack, and if they catch cars there, then their lap times fall off.
Well, a moment ago, maybe a little scare for the 20 car.
That's not too much of a scare for Kyle Busch, I wouldn't think.
Trouble on the racetrack. Whoa,
that's a scare.
That one is.
That's a scare. That's the only thing that can keep him from winning this race is a tire problem.
Up into the outside wall. You saw him slip a moment ago, and now he went all the way
right
up.
here. Come down.
Boy.
Blow tire. Yep. No warning whatsoever. Again.
Same thing that happened to him last week.
Last week, yeah.
He got a right front tire at Las Vegas.
And wasn't as gentle as last week.
Oh my goodness, yeah. He's talking about it wasn't as gentle a hit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's into it pretty hard right here.
Yeah, that might look innocent enough, but I'll assure you, as he's barreling off down in there at close to 190 miles an hour, and the car doesn't want to turn, that's a bad feeling. And it's a lot harder hit than what it looks right there when you're sitting in the driver's seat. So it's good to hear him talk, and he's okay, but I know he's very frustrated. 2 weeks in a row, he's had really, really good race cars and had these things to happen.
Wow, look at that right front tire blowout right there. Great shot. You know, this is we didn't expect to see, once we saw the early part of the race not having any tire problems, we thought it would get better and better. Looks like it's actually gotten worse as the race goes on.
Yeah, that's really strange, because you think as you get rubber down and you move around on the racetrack that's gonna get better as we move forward. But today that hasn't been the case. And it'll be interesting to see as Goodyear takes a look at this tire if this was something that he ran over on the racetrack, because we saw debris a while ago that hit Jamie McMurray's camera on his car. So there could just be debris out there that's creating these problems.
Well, this is really bad for Kyle Busch. I know there's about 5 or 6, maybe 10 guys sitting up taller in the seat right here right now thinking they may have a shot at this.
They use that baseball bat to try to roll the fender out. And Andy, you did it many times, but it's basically the best option they've got.
They've done a pretty good job getting it fixed. Here come the leaders.
Harvick, Burton, Kenseth, Edwards and company headed down to you, Mike.
And Harvick inherits the lead. Now the pressure's on his team to pull off a very clean pit stop. They're going to bolt on scuffs, take on fuel, and hope to get Kevin Harvick out here holding on to the lead. Meanwhile, Matt Kenseth also on pit road. He's complaining he needs to turn a little bit better. If he wants to compete for this win, they're going to make a track bar adjustment and tires. Jamie?
Carl Edwards wants 4 sticker tires, their last set available. He just wanted to snug it up just a little bit. Things just got interesting. Dave?
Crew Chief Pat Smith is on the wall watching the front end of Jeff Burton's car. I hit something, he said, but I don't want you guys to take the time to change anything on it or fix any damage. Just give me 4 tires, give me a little more grip, that's an air pressure adjustment, and send me off pit road. Guys, there was a big dent in the radiator area of the 29 car, but it didn't look like anything had gotten through to the actual radiator itself.
You saw the race off of pit road. We are under caution for the 6th time today. And the guy who had the dominant car had this problem. Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Kyle Busch back on pit road, and you see the shock absorber they've got in their hand there. Obviously, he had contact with a wall. Well, let's show you again what happened to the 20 car. After a dominant afternoon, he right front tire, and DJ, he heads right for the concrete.
Yeah, and he's not too far away, but as we saw last week, he was a lot closer than this. So this impact, you're bracing yourself right here because you can't steer. We see something coming out from underneath the car on the right side right there.
It looks like a shock maybe has come off the car. I don't know if it's because the tire blew or is that what caused the tire to blow. But that is definitely a shock absorber that has come off the car.
And that hard impact into the wall, and like a week ago when he was at the end of the back straightaway, they've come in and tried to put some tape to bandage that right side fender. David Reagan in the 6 car, Marcus Ambrose the 59 car. Both gained a lot of spots on pit road. Did not change tires. Came in and topped it off with a little bit of fuel. They will lead them down 1-2 with Edwards, Burton, Kenseth, and Harvick behind him.
Almost stacked them up right here. Marcus Ambrose spun the tires. Good job of Jeff Burton to jump on the outside. Here comes Edwards looking for a hole.
32 car Vickers is a lap down, by the way, as you watch Reagan trying to hold him off. David Reagan. Whoa, 29 car Burton up high. Edwards behind him. Here goes Burton down in the middle groove.
It's showtime, boys. We got to get going. 20 laps to go. Don't have time to mess with these lap cars.
No, and he's got a chance to win 3 in a row here. I'm speaking of Jeff Burton, so he is in the gas hard there. David Reagan's trying to hold up there, but it's just no match for fresher tires versus those that you have been running for a few laps, even though David Reagan's doing a good job down on the bottom of the racetrack.
A week ago, we saw a young driver, Brad Keselowski, try to hold off the veterans with used tires and ended up being involved in a fray. David Reagan trying to do the same thing on the bottom of the racetrack. It's his home track. He grew up in Unadilla, Georgia, 60 miles away, and now he gets passed by the 29 car of Burton and the 17 of Kenseth.
Giving it all he's got. He just didn't have enough for him.
Yeah. I know Jeff Burton was wanting to get by there because he knows that Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, and Carl Edwards are coming in a hurry.
That 33 car Harvick was the best car before this whole exchange, so I'm keeping an eye on him. He didn't come out off the pit road far enough ahead to be racing for the lead, but looks like he's got a pretty good car.
More on 33 with Mike.
And keep watching that 33, Andy, because this team throughout the afternoon has sort of been a little bit slow over the first 10 laps after a pit stop. But after that first 10 laps, it really seems like the car comes in. That's what Kevin's been telling the team throughout the day.
Well, the bad news is he's only got 17 laps to get it done, so you better hope it goes green.
Yeah, and he's got some fast guys in between him, so that's going to be the biggest problem that he's going to face. So Jeff Burton's sitting out here with a clear racetrack now. Even though he may have a race on his hand with Matt Kenseth, he's going to have a hard time running those guys down.
18 cars make it 17 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Busch, by the way, is the last car on the lead lap, back in 17th position.
David Rudiman digging on the bottom there. This car looks like it's pretty stout right now.
Yeah, Rudiman in 14th. Behind him, Casey Kane is the 9 car in 15th. Jason Keller back there in 16th. He is the 11 car.
The third car in line is Clint Boyer, still a lap down.
Got a glimpse of the 22 car. There's Mike Bliss, left side of your screen in the 22, trying to hold off Brad Keselowski. That's for 7th position.
Yeah, they just went around Junior. They actually split Junior right there. And as we heard earlier, them talking that the tires that they had to put on Junior's car were a set of tires that were really loose for him earlier. So you don't know if that was the tires. They were trying to say it was an adjustment, but right now his car is not acting exactly right.
I continue to be impressed with this 88 driver, Brad Keselowski. I mean, when he got the ride a year ago, people were saying, why does Dale Earnhardt Jr. pick this kid? What has he done in a NASCAR Nationwide car? But now he's proving it. It was a great choice and a very smart choice for Junior to put him in that car.
This is the race for the Nationwide Series only competitors. These two guys run this series exclusively. They don't run the Cup Series, so they want to kind of hang their hat on this right here. They want to beat each other.
Yeah, and both have done a terrific job, but you know, it's kind of a common theme all year long. We've been talking about Brad Keselowski and the job that he is doing in this car, and he seems to be the class of the field when it comes to just a nationwide driver.
13 laps to go. Jeff Burton, who won it a year ago and won it 2 years ago, trying to make history at Atlanta Motor Speedway, trying to become the first driver to win 3 in a row in the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
Kenseth ran a couple tenths faster the last lap.
Morrow and Jeff Burton with Dave.
And right now, guys, the tires on that car, fresh Goodyear Racing Eagles on that car, as Matt Kenseth tries to close in on him. This is a great comeback for those guys after yesterday. Jeff quote during the practice yesterday, it's real easy to exceed the limit of these tires, but it happens in different parts of the corners. That was an opportunity for his crew to go to work. They've been working all day, and they're going to lose the lead to Kenseth now, Doc.
Matt Kenseth, great call, Dave, on the inside. Here comes Burton charging back up high.
Burton's not going to give it to him. He's racing hard, but it looks like this 17 car is stout.
Yeah, he is really stout, but Jeff Burton knew from earlier experience that outside lane, you can keep that momentum going and you can get that guy bogged down a little bit on the inside. I think that's why he didn't opt to go down to the bottom when he saw Kenseth coming at him.
See these guys racing really hard. You got two guys in Carl Edwards and Kevin Harvick that are hoping they keep racing like this. They'll get up here and get into this.
10 laps to go, and why is it so important to lead at Atlanta with 10 laps to go? Well, history tells you that if you're leading with 10 to go, you got a shot. You're probably going to win this thing. 9 of the last 10 drivers have won, have been leading with 10 to go. But then there goes that graphic because here goes Kenseth by.
Burton just gave him the outside lane. I think he thought he was better on the bottom, but boy, that cost him. Giving us that outside.
Yeah, we saw him wiggle a lot there, so he wasn't able to get into the gas full throttle. Matt Kenseth had a great run on the outside and is now starting to stretch it out a little bit. Doesn't look like Burton's car is exactly to his liking.
Brad Keselowski gets another spot from David Reagan.
That's a battle for 6th position, and battle for 3rd on the left side of your screen is Harvick going by Edwards.
Mike Massaro said it takes about 10 laps for this 33 car to come in, and there it is. We've run about 10 laps since the restart, and his car's coming to life.
Yeah, I think he might get to 2nd place, but I'm not sure he's going to have enough time to go up there and get a hold of Matt Kenseth.
Kevin Harvick pedaling for all he's worth in the car that he owns. He and wife Delana, the 33 car.
Kevin Harvick was the fastest car on the racetrack the last lap. The only car in the 31-second bracket.
And I know they really want to win, as we talked about, for this team, but I think that they'll view this as just another step in the right direction. Been very competitive with a car that's been as quick as anyone here today.
They've definitely got a shot at it. That's all you ask for, just have a shot at a win. And they've got one right here. Here goes Harvick.
Harvick is currently, takes a spot, and Jeff Burton hanging on, wiggling that steering wheel back and forth.
Man, he was fighting that baby.
Yeah, for anybody who thinks that these guys just come in here just to ride around, I think that's proof right there that they're out there giving it everything they've got.
Okay, here goes Harvick. Does he have enough time?
Yeah, and I could have been wrong that he might not.
Yeah,
he doesn't have enough time.
Oh, he's got him in his sights.
Man, that car is fast.
It is fast. Oh,
heavy contact. Clausen involved. McClure is there in the 24 car. Brian Clausen.
24 right in front of us.
Ooh, that's a big wreck right there for Brian Clausen. A lot of damage. 24 car, Eric McClure.
Heavy contact for both these drivers. 6 laps to go, and now yellow for the 7th time.
That was. I couldn't control that.
We're going to have a lot of debris to clean up right here, too. This is it's a pretty big wreck. A lot of cars involved.
Dale Jr. just came by, and he's got damage from that also.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 5 car, also damaged, and you see right side at his fender. Front of that car buckled up. Hood is buckled up on the right side. Show you what happened here just a moment ago involving the 41 and 24 out of the corner.
See, it looked like Dale Jr. got underneath Eric McClure in that 24 car. Whoa,
wow.
Big crash. Jr. just looking for some room around these guys. Man, look at the debris flying off these cars.
Wow.
Picks that 24 completely up off the ground.
Right along with Dale Jr. We'll see what he saw as he tried to make a move underneath the 24.
Okay, hold her down here, bud. Hold her down. Got some fender damage.
Mike Wallace from behind this.
16 there inside. Bottom, come to the bottom, come to the bottom, come to the bottom, come to the bottom. There you go. Keep coming. Good job.
Nice job by Mike Wallace to avoid that fray. How important are spotters there? Instantly the spotter told him to go left, go bottom.
It's good to see Brian Clausen get out of this thing.
Yeah, that was a hard hit. You know, what it looked like, I'm not sure Junior ever touched that car, but a lot of times you're coming off that corner, and it looks like as he was going under, it just took the air off the 24, and as Junior was trying to go by him, it turned the 24 of Eric McClure sideways, and that's what created that.
That's exactly. It didn't look like any contact.
No.
NASCAR has red flagged the field here. You see them parked there on the front straightaway, and you saw that on pit road the 5 crew cannot work on the car. There's the safety guys going to pick up debris off of Eric McClure's number 24.
They had to red flag this thing because it was just a debris field back there, and these guys don't have any more tires in the pits they can put on. They don't want to make another pit stop, and NASCAR doesn't want them to have to run through this and get a bunch of flat tires. So that was a good move to red flag it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a spring laid on the track.
Yeah, they better get more than 2 guys back there with all the debris to pick up there, but they'll pick up as much as they can, and then they'll bring
Parts and pieces all over the racetrack. Hard contact. The 24 spins, and Clausen just tags him. We are red flag here in Atlanta.
It's going by.
Our NASCAR Nationwide Series at Atlanta coverage being brought to you by State Farm. Great service, great rates. It's all here. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. And by the U.S. Navy. Navy, accelerate your life. We are under a red flag condition here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as we will check down on pit road. The leader's crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer, standing by with Mike Massaro.
And certainly he's bracing for a shootout here with Kevin Harvick. Can you hold the 33 off?
You know, I think it'll be close. We were probably maybe a tick faster than the 33 on short runs, but then he came to life after 5 or 6 laps. Hopefully it'll be the same scenario here. The Arby's Fusion's pretty good, and we should be okay.
Kevin Harvick, as you know, has a reputation as being one of the best restart drivers in the world, really. That said, what do you expect on this restart from him?
You know, his restarts have been pretty crazy all day long, with 3rd, 4th place guys getting out there and breaking 3 wide. At least it's going to be single file. Matt's not too shabby himself, so our motor's running really strong, so we should be okay.
As we said earlier in the show, Doc, the 17 team very unhappy with their 7 second-place finishes a year ago. You can be sure they're going to go for the victory and try to hold off that 33 as much as they can.
Mike, they have not won in 19 races. Last win for them, Texas, back in the spring of 2007. Well, again, we are under a red flag condition. The 7th caution flag brought out by an incident out of turn 4. The 24 car of Eric McClure sideways and right up in front of the 41, and the youngster Brian Clausen, having nowhere to go, just tags him hard. McClure's car airborne, and the back of the car into the wall. This is not the first time that the young Abington, Virginia driver Eric McClure has had a highlight here in the late laps.
I am Eric McClure. The most exciting moment we had, obviously, was the accident at New Hampshire.
Oh, look at this. We got a car way up on the wall.
The first time in my life I was on SportsCenter, and I was really happy about it.
This is SportsCenter.
Okay, bad driving by you. Your license is revoked.
After that, we kind of had a cult following of notoriety for the Hefty brand and for Eric McClure.
Hey, that hurt like a you-know-what.
You're never excited about wrecking, but that was one positive that came out of it.
Look at him surfing on the side of the wall backwards.
The next time I see myself on SportsCenter, I hope I'm winning a race. I am Eric McClure.
It has been quite the day here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway so far. It started this morning with snow, which eventually stopped. Qualifying was canceled. The field lined up according to the NASCAR rulebook. Eventually the sun came out. Strong wind, cool temperatures, but very good racing conditions for the drivers and teams. Dale Earnhardt Jr. a little trouble on the get-go.
I don't know if this was an omen or not, but he couldn't get the car started. Thought he had flooded the car, but eventually got up to speed, but started off rough.
And Jr. took the green flag from his 9th spot. Lap number 29, Dario Franchitti, the white and blue car. Hello.
Well, I tell you, I talked to Dario yesterday before practice. He just said his car is just awful. He cannot get it underneath him, and we see right there he was having a tough time. Had needed 8 tires on that one.
Watch the restart. Restarts have been crazy all race long. They end up 4 wide on this restart when the leader spun his tires and had trouble getting going.
Yep, Kyle Busch spun his tires, couldn't get up to speed, and boy, they flared out, and went every which way but loose, trying to get around it.
Kevin Harvick 5th to 1st on that restart. Trouble off turn 2, Brett Rowe in the 05 car, the West Virginia driver. It's not going to work out.
Oh, man, Brett got turned around there, as we see, and we thought he was going to be able to keep it down in the infield, but just got up and come across the track.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 5, racing the car that he owns, the 88 of Brad Keselowski. They ran hard for the 6th position, middle stages of the race. Junior, don't wreck the car you pay for, pal. And he managed to stay off him, and they continue to soldier on. Now ahead, lap 170. Kyle Busch has dominated this race. Led 153 of the first 170 laps, going into turn 1 on the 171st. Kaboom.
Kyle Busch, I'm going to tell you, if he doesn't have bad luck, he has no luck at all. He has led more laps in the past 2 years in races and had incidents that come up that knocks him out of contention of winning.
Now just moments ago, Eric McClure in the 24, we think had a tire going flat, is trying to get off the gas, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. tries to find a way around him. Collects him, sends McClure up the racetrack. He's collected by Brian Clausen in the 41. Nasty crash that put us under the red flag. Let's hear from the driver of that 41 car now with Jamie.
Making just his 8th start in the nationwide race. You're out, Brian. I know you told me you're okay. What happened?
You know, I don't really know. It looked like the 5 and the 32 were racing pretty hard there, and they caught the 24, and I don't know really if the 5 got into the 24 or if it was just air or what happened there, but it kicked him back up in front of the track, and you know, we were there and had nowhere to go. But you know, I hate it for all my guys. It's 2 straight weeks we've been in the car, and you know, had something happen that wasn't quite our doing. So you know, I hate it for all them, but you know, we'll come back at Bristol and try again.
All right, Doc, things are going to heat up here.
Thank you, Jamie. Pace car pulls away. Kenseth will lead him down. It'll be 3 to go with the green. Okay, guys, who's your horse? Who do you think?
33 cars, one I've got.
Give me the leader. That guy's in charge, and he knows what to do when he's out front.
Jeff Burton's won 2 in a row. Can he get there? We're going to find out in 3 circuits at 1.5 miles here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Harvick's got him in his sights off turn 2.
David Reagan, a tire going down on the 6 car. He is off the pace, up high, right front.
Yeah, they had a little contact there as they tried to get into turn 1, and it looked like David got turned into the outside wall.
Caution being waved. Debris on the racetrack. There's a part of the sheet metal coming off the 6 car of Reagan.
This will for sure set us up for a green-white checker finish.
And I'm sure Matt Kenseth was saying, I had a great restart right there. I don't want to have to do this again.
I wonder if Harvick learned anything from that short little restart.
I'm sure that he's got something in his memory bank there that just saw that maybe, but you know, being the leader, Matt's not going to probably show him the same thing that he just did the last time.
Now, if you saw what Kevin Harvick just saw a moment ago with what Kenseth did in the restart, how do you change this time? What do you do differently?
You change that point to where you accelerated. You changed the RPM that you were coming to the green. Even though you're supposed to maintain a certain pace, you can change that by just a couple of 100 RPM or a little bit more.
Oh, do you say you play games with these guys when you're the leader?
Well, yeah, you got to have fun. Yeah. It is a game. That's what this is all about. So, yeah, you do things. You've got to know, because you can't let that guy behind you have any idea of what you're going to do. If you were to come up here and go from the same spot that you just went from at the same RPM, then you got guy as smart as Kevin Harvick in that car. He's going to be anticipating that. So now Matt's going to change it up a little bit.
And Harvick's probably smart enough to know that's what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen.
There's a 6 car of David Reagan. That's the reason we are under caution now for the 8 time. Let's watch the 6 car on the restart here. Contact, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like Jamie McMurray was headed to the outside.
It's the same thing. This track seems to this happens a lot here, because on the restart, it seems like this front straightaway just doesn't have a lot of grip, and invariably somebody will spin the tires and kind of bottle them up.
Yeah.
There's Delana Harvick. Oh.
That's Wally Rogers, the crew chief. He's thinking, man, I thought we had him right there.
More on David Reagan with Dave.
Yeah, and in some cases, guys, the carburetor fills up with fuel or doesn't, or it happens that the car stumbles on the accelerator, and that's what David claimed happened when he went to put the gas pedal down. It just stumbled. He said stumbled on fuel was his exact quote, and it didn't go.
You know, you have a lot of responsibilities as a driver out there. You're not just sitting in there anticipating a restart. There's a lot of things. You have to get your tires cleaned off because you've been out there running, picking up a little bit of debris on them, so you want to make sure they're cleaned off. But you also have to keep that carburetor cleaned out, just for that reason right there, Andy.
Yeah, that's what I always tell the driver. Make sure you got it cleaned out, tires warmed up. I mean, we try to remind them, because these drivers got a lot on their mind when they get ready to start this race, especially at the very end.
Yes.
It'll be green, white, and checkered. The 17 car we mentioned that Kenseth hasn't won since last spring. He won twice in this series. In fact, the car he is driving, he won both his races in a year ago. Of course, Kevin Harvick behind him trying to win for his own team for the first time in that car. His team won with Bobby Labonte driving at Talladega last year. And behind them in the car he won with here last spring is Jeff Burton driving for Richard Childress. And oh, by the way, behind him, reigning series champion Carl Edwards.
Pretty good lineup we've got there, isn't it?
Well, it's showtime right here, boys. Green, white, checker. Put them all on the table.
Yeah, I think that Kevin Harvick's biggest problem may be that Matt Kenseth's car works really good on the bottom, and that's where Kevin seems to work really well. So, you know, he may have to step outside of what his comfort zone has been there, where his car's really worked well, and try that high side. I'm pretty sure that Jeff Burton is going to go up there as quickly as he can get a run.
And you think this is exciting, folks? Next week, we're going to move north about 300 miles for race number 5, the world's fastest half mile, Bristol Motor Speedway. Yeah, we call it Thunder Valley, the first short track race of the season. We also call it full contact stock car racing. Carl Edwards won last year's race in front of over 110,000 fans. Edwards, one of several Sprint Cup drivers, entered. It is the 52nd Nationwide Series event to be run at Bristol Motor Speedway. 9 different winners in the last 9 races.
Somebody used to call that car wrestling. Short track racing like that at Bristol.
Yeah, it's the most exciting motorsports venue in the world. I don't care what they may have somewhere else. It doesn't get any more exciting than at Bristol Motor Speedway.
But you know what, folks? It's going to get very exciting right here. That pace car better get out of the way. Because Mr. Harvick, what can he do on that restart? Here he comes. Can Harvick be a jackrabbit? He jumps in the throttle, hangs with Kenseth.
Yeah, he took off a little sooner than he did the time before. Kevin Harvick was ready for him, but it caught these other guys by surprise a little bit. They got a couple of car lengths away from them.
It looked like maybe the 29 car laid back just a little bit, anticipating that start, and those guys took off on him.
Yeah, Burton didn't want to be a part of that wreck. 2 laps to go. It'll be white flag this time by. Harvick was catching him. Does he have enough time?
Really in the gas hard there. You can see Kevin Harvick gain just a little bit. But we heard him also talk about how good the engine in that 17 car has been all day, too.
White flag. You see the battle now for 3rd position. Edwards making a move on the bottom inside of Burton.
Harvick looked inside.
Yeah. Kenseth gave him that for a little bit, but Matt has seen, I think, from when he was racing Jeff Burton for the lead earlier, that he could go in there after he got a lap on his tires and really get off of turn 2 on that higher line.
Final couple of turns. Kenseth trying to win for the first time in 19 races, and Matt Kenseth will come down and take the victory at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Good job, you guys. Appreciate it.
Excellent job, driver. Nice job today in the pits, guys. Nice job. Thank all the motormen for working hard this week and changing motors. Nice job in the pits, guys.
Kevin Harvick will finish 2nd. Jeff Burton 3rd. Edwards 4th. And Bobby Labonte all the way up to finish 5th. Keselowski is 6th. That ties his best finish in a NASCAR Nationwide Series event.
My man Mike Bliss comes home 7th.
Yeah, did a great job. Casey Kane in 8th after fighting back from being a lap down at one point.
Jason Leffler coming back from that DNF at Las Vegas gets a top 10 finish and 9th spot. David Rudiman, after struggling with the handle on that car and dropping back out of the top 25, gets back into the top 10. Well, the crew chief for the 17 car, Drew Blickensderfer, standing by with Jamie.
Well, it's been quite a while, but you guys make it back to victory lane. Drew, what were those last few moments like when we had 2 cautions in a row?
They were pretty tense. I think it probably helped us. Kevin was better on long runs than we were. Short runs, we were as good as about anybody but the 20 car. So with the 20 car problem and then having those cautions probably kept us out front and ended up good for us.
He is so low-key early in the race, and he comes out of nowhere. Did you know your car was this good?
No, you know, we had a 12th place car yesterday. We made a lot of changes. We weren't happy with it. The motor department worked 24 hours a day for 3 straight days this week to make sure we had good power. So, I mean, it was a really big team effort at Roush Fenway, and the Arby's Fusion ended up in a good spot.
And the hard work paid off. Drew Blickensderfer goes to victory lane with his driver, Matt Kenseth, once again.
The carnage of Atlanta. You see Earnhardt Jr., the damage going by. 7 car. Mike Wallace again, a good finish. Mike in the top 20. Behind him, Stephen Wallace back in 18th position. As Matt Kenseth picks up his second career win at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. By the way, Kenseth will start 38th in the NASCAR Sprint Cup event here on Sunday. 500 miles of racing action on Sunday. Mike and Larry and Darrell bringing all the action, so it's going to get even more fast and furious here for 500 miles on Sunday afternoon. Kenseth in victory lane as we head down to Mike Massaro.
And Matt Kenseth now unbuckling as he gets out of the car, ready to celebrate his first victory of 2008, number 24 of his career. And here he is outside the car. Matt Kenseth, your winner here in Atlanta. And for a large portion of the day, it looked like Kyle Busch was going to run away with this thing. What were your thoughts when you saw the 20 car have some problems?
Well, I knew it kind of opened the door for everybody. You know, the 20 had everybody covered. I mean, Kyle's just been awesome this year. He's been driving good stuff, and there's no way any of us, in my opinion, we're going to beat him on speed. So certainly when he had a problem, it opened it up for everybody, and our car was pretty good on short run, and we were able to work our way to the front.
And you certainly put yourself in a position to win, but you had to battle Kevin Harvick down the stretch. What were your thoughts on those last couple of restarts with him behind you?
Well, Kevin was really fast, you know, and on a short run, it was real weird. I could beat him for 3 or 4 laps, and he'd drive away and leave me pretty good. So I knew it was going to be a good battle. I had fun, a lot of fun racing with him and with Jeff Burton. And most important thing about today is with the Arby's car is free curly fries on Monday for everybody in the whole country. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I guess we all win then, Doc. Curly fries for everyone.
I'm on my way right now, Mike. Great effort by Matt Kenseth. Now, Kevin Harvick may not have won the race, but folks, leaving here, Kevin Harvick is the points leader by 25 points over reigning series champion Carl Edwards. We'll come back and talk with more of the drivers here at Atlanta in just a moment. Matt Kenseth, the winner, his 24th career victory. Matt Kenseth celebrating the thrill of victory at Atlanta Motor Speedway as he wins for the first time in 2008, 24th time in his career. And for the other end of emotion, well, Shannon Spake is trying to catch up with Kyle Busch.
Here with Kyle Busch. Kyle, second week in a row with tire problems. Was there any indication that there was going to be an issue?
Nope.
Now you came over the radio at the end of the race, told the team not to hang their head. Optimistic about the way that you guys ran today?
Obviously, we had a dominant car, and Farm Bureau and Toyota should be real proud. Just sorry about the fact that we blew another right front tire.
All right, well, Kyle Busch.
And Shannon, another driver who had a great car day but came home just a little bit short was Kevin Harvick. Kevin, where did you guys fall short today?
The first thing I want to do is thank my Camping World Chevrolet team. These guys have come a long way since last year. I'm really proud of the cars and everything that they're putting on the racetrack, but I'm really disappointed that we gave it away on pit road there at the end. You know, it's tough to get these things where they need to be, and when you get a chance to get to that point, you got to capitalize on it. So that's one thing I learned at RCR. When you have an opportunity to capitalize, you better pounce, because it's hard to win these races.
You were moving in on the 17 car late in the race. Caution came out. If we had stayed green, Kevin, do you think your car was better than Matt's?
Yeah, I think we were definitely better than the 17. You know, he was a little bit better than us on the restarts for a couple laps, but after the tires come in, our car was really good. But just want to thank Ream and Road Loans and Snap-on and everybody who helps us for this program for sticking with us to get us to this point where we at least have a chance to win.
All right, a fun drive today for Kevin, but second place, Jamie, not what he wanted.
Well, Carl Edwards wanted that win as well, but he finished 4th, rallied back. Carl, take us through your day, kind of up and down day.
Yeah, it was down, then up. I mean, this Scott's Miracle Grow Fusion was a little bit bad at the beginning, and we were all racing for second until Kyle had his trouble, so I feel bad for him. But it's good to see Matt get that win. I think I get some free fries out of that deal. I'm not sure, but very good to see Roush Fenway Fusion in victory lane. Really excited about tomorrow. That was an exciting race to be a part of, and man, it was fun with Jeff on the last lap. That was exciting.
As a driver and so many things you guys have to deal with in the distractions, what's gone on in your life this week, how good is it just to get back in your race car, in your world?
Oh, it's great. I've learned the number one thing I come here to do is race. The rest of the stuff will take care of itself, and today we had a good race. Obviously we wanted to win, but my teammate won. That's good. Tomorrow we've got a great race car. That Aflac Fusion's spectacular. So we're going for 3 in a row, just having a good time.
Hey, consistency wins championships. Shannon?
Well, another great finish by Brad Keselowski, top 10. How are you feeling out there? Have you guys just literally flipped a switch?
Yeah, I mean, we've got good cars. I mean, the merger with Hendrick Motorsports' nationwide team has
really got this team come to life. Real proud of this car. This was actually a car that we hung the body on in shop at Junior Motorsports, and it was really good off the truck, and I felt real confident about coming here, and it showed off, and we got ourselves a solid finish for the U.S. Navy Chevrolet.
Well, congratulations. Great finish by Brad Keselowski.
And Jeff Burton finished third today. Shannon, Jeff, very fast race car today. You led laps. At the end of the race, though, it seemed like you had less of a car. You hit something on the track. Did that valence thing make any difference to you?
I don't know. We, you know, when before the 20 had his problem and on the restart, and I ran over him, we were running him down, and the car was really good. And then after that, it ripped the tape off of it. I don't know how that happened, but it pulled the tape off of it, and then it drove terrible. And I went toward the back, and then we got that fixed and put a set of tires on it, and I couldn't drive it. And then we made another change, and then it was coming. I mean, then it was wicked fast, and I thought we were in good shape. And that's when, you know, I ended up running over whatever came out of his car. And then after that, it took off fast, real fast. And I thought, well, you know, we're going to be okay. It was a little too tight. But then it turned sideways on me about 4 laps in a row, and a 17 ran me back down, and then we were done, and then we were loose the rest of the race. But good day for the Holiday Inn Chevrolet. We real weird. I mean, we fought all kinds of different stuff. We were sideways, we were pushing, we were all over the place, and just a real strange day. We never quite, you know, had a secure feeling where I could drive it really hard. We did the first 2 runs, but then after that, I was just kind of hanging on. But good day for us. We'll keep battling.
You drove it hard enough to get third, Shannon.
Well, a top 10 finish for Mike Bliss as well, 7th place. How do you feel about that run today, Mike?
That's good. Our Supercuts Dodge was really good today. It was a little bit tight, but man, I could just drive the heck out of it. And it just, it was a great car. Paul did a great job. You know, Supercuts, Dodge, just thank them a lot. And our Mike Agee, the motors ran great, and it was fun. I like Atlanta for some reason. I don't know why, but it was fun to be able to drive something as hard as you could here.
Well, certainly a fun day for Mike Bliss, top 10.
Got 7th place behind race winner Matt Kenseth. And so it's on from the high speeds of Atlanta Motor Speedway to Thunder Valley.
Oh, man.
The Bull Ring, Bristol Motor Speedway in Tennessee. The Nationwide Series for race number 5 of 2008. First short track of the season. Our coverage presented by GoDaddy.com on ABC next Saturday, starting with NASCAR Countdown at 2 Eastern Time. You know, Brad, I was just heartbroken today for Kyle Busch when he had that problem.
Well, I'll tell you what, Alan, it seems like it happens a lot to Kyle Busch. He runs up front so much, he should rip off about 10 wins, and it's going to happen soon. Tough day for Kyle Busch, but he'll be right back in the mix next week.
Some quick math, Kyle Busch has led 396 of 710 laps in this Nationwide Series season so far. Dominant today, but for a second straight year at Atlanta, a problem with 30 to go takes the race's dominant car out. And this time, to the benefit of Matt Kenseth, your winner in Atlanta this afternoon. Coming up next, Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods continues. It's the Ohio Valley Conference Championship. That is next on ESPN2. So Matt Kenseth, not the dominant car by any stretch on the day, but continues Roush Racing's dominance of victory lane here at this racetrack as the Roush Fenway team came up with its 5th NASCAR Nationwide Series win at this 1.5-mile track. For our entire ESPN NASCAR crew, Alan Bestwick saying so long from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll see you next Saturday afternoon on ABC at 2 Eastern from Bristol. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Matt Kenseth is your NASCAR Nationwide Series winner today in Atlanta.